Okay, perfect. So recording in progress, we have started, and I see a lot of people, a lot of you still coming in. That's fine. You haven't missed anything. So we'll just be going through a few intros as more and more people join the call. All right, so what are we going to be doing in these 2 days? All right. So it's important so that in case this does not interest you, you can decide not to waste your time. Your time is valuable. Spending 3 hours of your time is valuable. So it's important for you to know what you are in here for. And if this is not for you, you can just, move, right? So it's important that I help you set your expectations right. So what are we going to be learning within the course of these 2 days? Uh I'll try to follow the order, but sometimes, just because of the excitement, I may not follow a particular order, but it's important for you to know exactly what we'll be dealing in these 2 days. So first and foremost, I'm going to help you understand who we are. Okay, is that okay? I'll help you understand who we are for those of you who are meeting us for the first time. All right. I will introduce myself. I will tell you my transition story. Um, hopefully that can help you. Yes, the second day is tomorrow and it's the same time, sir. All right. So I would help you understand business analysis. I'll also help you understand the responsibilities of the BA. I will go a little bit deeper, okay, than the surface level. And the reason why I do this is because I know some of you may not have the money to join our bootcamp, which is fine, but I will still give you some incentives because I want you to join. All right. I will give you some incentives. I'll give you a stupendous discount tonight. All right. So just stick around. Okay. I really want you to join. But in case you cannot join, I will go a little bit deeper, okay, into certain things. I'll go into a bit deeper so that you can have an understanding and you can decide to, if you want to do a self-study, at least you will have some understanding of where to start from and what to do. Does that make sense? All right. Just to help you to be able to, have the necessary background and basic foundation, the basic knowledge for you to be able to move on. All right. I will talk about how to build a product. I will talk about MVPs. I will talk about Scrum and Kanban. I'll talk about requirements engineering. I'll talk about MVP. Okay, I already said that. Scrum and Kanban. I'll talk about the Scrum roles because our course is not just focused on business analysis. It's focused on business analysis. It's focused on Scrum Master role, and it's focused on the product owner role. So you are able to do all of these three things at the same time. Does that make sense? By the time you're done with our program. But I want to help you to see what they are, what they are and why you can leverage your previous experience, all right, to transition into mid to senior roles. Because I know for most immigrants like myself, because I'm also an immigrant, for most immigrants like myself, the fear, so to speak, is to start from the bottom, is to build from the bottom. Okay, which is fine, and I quite understand that. So we mostly want to start from mid to senior roles, which is what we've um, been doing for the past 3 years since we started the Skill Garage. So I will be helping you to see that how to win in the job market, and then we can discuss the role of certification, okay, in the when you go out there looking for a job. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's talk about the Skill Garage quickly, who we are. Now, in 2020, I started with a genuine intention to help my friends to win. And the reason is simple. COVID happened. Now, if you did not fall from the sky, if you did not fall from the sky, maybe yesterday, you just landed on Earth, boom, you will know that in 2020, there was the pandemic, right? And there was COVID, and people lost their jobs as a result. But the funny thing was that as people were losing their jobs in certain sectors, some other people were having more jobs available to them in other areas, like the business analysis job functions, agile roles, some tech roles became more popular. All right. So I helped my friends at the time, just my genuine intention to help them get back on their feet. I started teaching them business analysis over the weekend. And as God will have it, some of them, they went on to started getting jobs. So one friend will get a job, will invite another friend, and then they will come into the WhatsApp group. We will go ahead and start teaching again. And then another friend will get a job, and then they will tell another friend. And that's how they started speaking to friends, friends speaking to friends. And eventually I would be advised to start this. which is now the Skill Garage. Well, I budged, and in 2021, we registered the Skill Garage. In June, we got our first paying student, all right? And we started focus on delivering value, value, value. We grew exponentially as a result of our value-added services, both free and paid. We expanded into the US, from Canada, expanded into UK, Dubai, and we also introduced our hands-on project and product ownership, bonus programs, okay? And in 2023, we've also launched our product management and our cybersecurity courses also. So we are gradually expanding. And in this year, we are looking to do more of our a la carte service, like self-paced course and the rest, practicum experience for those of you who've done something before, and then, also increase our mentorship capacity. All right, till date, we have taught many in our free monthly training and helped hundreds to launch their tech careers through our free and paid bootcamp. In fact, as a result of this, we just got nominated for the Obsidy Award here in Canada. All right, and it's a very interesting feeling when I can show you that quickly. Obsidy. So we just got nominated for the Obsidy Award. And it's a very interesting feeling when, people can begin to see the impact that you've made in other people's lives. So this is powered by one of the biggest banks in Canada. And we are grateful that at least we have been recognized in that way. Just helping you to see our pedigree and where we're coming from. All right. And our authenticity. All right. What's our mission? Our mission is to help you start. Okay, that's if you do not know where to start. Because, sometimes I tell people, in the midst of too many information or too much information, you can get lost. Yes, because there's so much information out there. There's so much, in fact, you can do a full business analysis course online. Do you know that? You don't have to pay nobody. But sometimes the problem is where to start from, you see? And then you get yourself immersed in a learning experience that is not systematic, that is not sequential. And then you begin to have issues on how to navigate. All right, so we will help you start or accelerate your career progression in the digital space by delivering relevant knowledge, which is number one. And I told you relevant knowledge out there knowledge is plentiful. Permit me to say that. It's plentiful, but relevant knowledge, organized knowledge is rare. Okay? So we will deliver relevant, organized knowledge to you with commensurate work experience. That's our mission. Our vision is to create a global community where career help in digital is accessible across all verticals and tech domain. So that is why we can be here in Canada and expand throughout, the UK. We've been running programs in the UK for almost 2 years now, for about 2 years now. We've been running programs in Africa. Recently we are helping some initiatives. We're heading some initiatives back in Nigeria for the federal government to train about 3 million technical talents. So we are expanding as a global community. So we don't just want to stay as one local community. We're expanding as a global community. So create a global community where career help in digital is accessible across all verticals and tech domain. And then our purpose, the reason why we do this so passionately, is so that we can raise people like you, people like yourself, digital experts like yourself that still come back to become mentors on our platform, to raise experts like yourself that possess the digital skills that matter. Our core values, we are very student-centered. We're transparent in our dealings. We love to give impact. Integrity is core in what we do. We try to be inclusive as much as possible, and we also try to innovate. As part of our innovation plan, one of the things that we are doing is to create a system where you as a learner, as a student, can come in with your ideas and you can create a product, so that we are moving away from that job-centered mindset to a business-centered mindset. So this is part of the innovation that we are bringing into our curriculum and our programs. Okay, let's talk about the pillars. What are the pillars that hold us? Like when I say pillars, it means if you don't see these things when you come on our program, then you have to check if you're in the right place. because you just may not be in the right place. So these are the things that hold, you are bound to see when you come on our platform. The first is collaborative learning. So cross-functional teams, live group work, brainstorm sessions in class, you learn from mentors and you learn from peers alike. The second is practical work experience. So we do what the industry is doing. We go where the industry is going. We use what the industry is using. So industry standard tools, hands-on training, live projects, practicals. And when I say live projects, I mean live projects. And I will show you some of those. I think this is a good segue to show you that. Let me show you some of those. In fact, one of our projects is going to Collision this year, one of our students' project. For those of you who know Collision is one of the biggest tech conference in the world. One of the biggest tech conferences, especially here in North America. It's one of the biggest tech conference. You have about 130 plus countries represented. And one of our products is going this year. Students like you built it. Okay. It's called the AfroShop. Okay, AfroShop is going to Collision this year. And students like yourself and myself, they built this. And we have quite a lot of projects that we are currently working on, and students like you are the ones working on them. I can show you a few of those. Just give me a minute. Quickly, I'm going to show you a few of those ones. So these are quite a lot of projects that we've been working on. And let me show you this one. So this is another one we are working on. Students like you built this, all right? It's called Speak It for learning African languages, all right? So students like you are the ones who built this. And, we are currently working on, give me a minute, please. So you can see that these are big things, right? So you can have at the end of the day things that you can actually show. And these are things that we're actually going to launch. So when I say real projects, I actually mean real projects. Now you can see that this is one project, and this is the students that built this project. You can see that, Speak It here. All right, you can see the branding. I'm just showing you all of this so that you are able to see who is actually bringing this to you. You can see that everything from the branding of the project to everything was done, like what you will do on your normal job. Okay, so these are all the documentations that the students did for that project I'm showing you right now, from competitors analysis to SWOT to the use cases to the MVP. I know you may not understand some of these things now, that's fine, to the roadmap, to the features. It was formerly Afrolingo, but we had to change it because we had somebody in the market that had that name. So we had to switch. Okay, so, and I can keep showing you tons and tons and tons of projects that students are working on, just to show you that, one of the pillars that we really, there's one that we worked on recently. It's called for the airport. It's a POC for the airport. It's called the Airpacks. You can see all of the projects here from food court to CNL to Speak It. So you will get to be a part of some of these innovations that we are working on. This one is something that we did recently for the airport, and these are actually students' project. Now, how did I get here? I was trying to explain to you that we go where the industry is going, we do exactly what the industry is doing, and we bring to you hands-on for you to be able to, be confident when you go out there to snatch that job. All right, so we're also building an ecosystem which comprises of myself and yourself, of course, interactions with alumni, mentorship, networking, and on-the-job support. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible with these things. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on LinkedIn, please give us a follow. It's the Skill Garage on any of these platforms, even on YouTube, the Skill Garage. On X, you can follow us on the Skill Garage and get the latest on our platform. Okay. This video would likely be sent on YouTube, so it would be nice for you to subscribe to us so that you can access it. All right, so what's our process like? We train you, and the training is organized, it's relevant, it's thorough, an expert with so many years of experience. And then in the course of the program, you're doing peer-to-peer work and you're doing mentor-to-peer work. And then we'll move on to the experience part where you do live projects, you work with cross-functional team. You can get reference for the work that you do on the platform for sure. All right. And you get your project feedback. And then the third will be coaching, where you get one-on-one personalized resume coaching and interview prep. And then when we have weekly sessions, you can also be a part of that. All right. And finally, on the job support, so that you don't get hired and fired. You get hired and then you stay. All right. There's nobody that we've had to lose as a result of incompetence, because when our people get on the job, they get the support that they need to be able to thrive and beat probation. All right. Okay. So you can be very, very sure of that happening for you. All right. Who am I? And why am I here? Why can I talk to you the way I'm talking to you? And why can I, why do I have the permission to teach you what I would be teaching you today? Simple. Number one, I'm a university lecturer. I'm very passionate about teaching. I have been teaching since the age of 15, whether you like it or not. I started teaching right off high school, all right, when my principal asked me to start teaching physics, which paid off afterwards for me. So fast forward a few years, while I was in the UK, I also gained my Associate Fellow Higher Education Academy certificate, which means that I can actually support and teach in the university in the UK. So while doing my PhD in the UK, I was able to also teach. I'm a senior product manager. All right. I work with so many brands. I've worked with so many brands over the years, more than 10 plus of experience in digital product development space. I'm a product pundit. As you can see, I've shown you some of the products that we are working on. And one of our products is actually going to collision this year. All right. I'm a certified BA. I'm a certified Scrum Master. I'm a certified product owner. I'm an ardent agile evangelist, and the list goes on. You can find me on LinkedIn as Michael Akman. You can't miss that face. All right. It's a sheepish smiling face on LinkedIn. You can't miss it. All right. So, and these are some of the brands that I've worked with. I've worked with quite a lot of brands across several sectors, and that is just me in brief. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's talk about who is this for. Who is this for? Now, if you're a complete novice to the subject of business analysis, you're a complete novice to the subject of product ownership, complete, novice to the subject of Scrum mastering, probably you've heard your friend mention this, or you've heard people mention this. Okay, that's fine. Question is, do you understand what they do? Okay, you're a complete novice, you don't have any experience, that is fine. You're in the right place. All right, because you don't need experience to be here. If you had experience, guess what? You will not even be here. Yes. If you had experience, I don't think you'll be here. Although some people just, they come in from time to time when they have experience just to refresh, just as a refresher. But I know the bulk of you are probably novices in this area. Now, if you're someone who is just simply ambitious, you're just looking for the next level, that's also fine. If you're someone who's just curious, okay, I don't want to take things seriously, but, let's slow pedal. Let me just know what this is about, and probably I will give you the thought. Okay, you're still in the right place. That's fine. That's you. Or you're a career changer. And I'm going to tell you my story very soon. Just chill and relax. If you're a career changer, like myself, that has had to change careers. I used to be an engineer. I did my chemical engineering up to PhD level. So you can imagine, what am I doing here? So if you're a career changer like myself, like many of my students, maybe you're not happy with what you're doing right now, which of course is usually the case with most immigrants. They get underpaid, they do some jobs that they are not meant to be doing, but of course, man has to survive, right? But then you don't have to stay there for too long. All right. If you're a career changer, this is also for you. If you're a graduate like John Enejo, who after finishing his master's in the UK was able to land a £74,000 job in less than 6 months after his graduation, just looking for another alternative to what he has learned in school, then this is also for you. Or if you're an immigrant, just like myself and many of you, I believe, on this call, then you probably want to listen up for an alternative that can help you, live the life that you want to live based on your own terms. So let me give you some motivation for the road, and let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I started my PhD in the University College London. You can see I'm looking a bit much more younger. All right, at the heart of London. Started at the heart of London, started my PhD, and that's me. on the day I lost my funding towards the end of my PhD. And this is me married with one kid and one other kid in the belly. So, my wife was pregnant at the time. So imagine finishing my work in the lab and coming to meet a message that says, hey, you see that life you're living in London? You have to hustle for it now. There is no more funding. So, this is where things became really, really tough. So this is one of those nights where I started hustling and doing the hustles around Euston Square. It's one of those places where I went for, I used to do furniture lifting and furniture moving, for event spaces. So one of those nights, I just decided, you know what, just give me a shot. And I was luckily enough, I was able to find this picture while putting this together, you know. And so let me just give you my life in brief after that happened to me. And probably some of you may be in this situation too. I would wake up every morning at 5 a.m., okay, just to make ends meet. Remember, I'm in London, I'm in the UK. I can't tell these people that I just lost my funding because the next thing I will be back in Nigeria. That's it. You don't have funding, you can pay fees. Then the next thing is home office is sending you back. For those of you who know, for those of you in London, you probably know what I'm talking about. So I had to make ends meet, had to do extra. All right. And I did that for another 2 years. And trust me, in my mind, I was almost going crazy. I woke up 5 a.m. every morning. I would go to Aldgate, Whitechapel. How many of you know Whitechapel? For those of you in London, you go to Whitechapel, there's a string of offices in Whitechapel. I used to clean those offices in the morning from 5 a.m. till about 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. when people begin to get into the office. So I'll wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, I'll go to sweep, then I will go to school, I'll put on some show to avoid the home office sending me back to Nigeria. When my supervisor sees me on my seat and sees me doing some code or sees me doing some work, I know that I have marked my register. Then I'm going to zoom off. I'll resume my furniture moving job probably around 12 noon in the afternoon and then end in the evening. And then on some days, I'll do cleaning gigs, via TaskRabbit, some of these apps. I'll go clean the house, do some handyman stuff. I'll typically end my day at Ilford because I have to do more. I have to send my child to daycare. I have to do a lot of things. I have to pay rent. I have to do all that stuff. So I was doing a lot at the same time. I would then have to go to Ilford, East London, where I would teach physics and maths tutorial to kids, especially my Asian clients, because they love educating their kids. And I had this friend who was always, fixing me up with some of these, rich Asian people in East London. So I got gigs, and sometimes I'm going to teach up till like 10:30, 11, all right? And I'm on my way back. So imagine leaving my house at 5 a.m. every day, and I'm coming back 11:30 p.m., sometimes 12 midnight every single day. That was my life. Like I almost went mad. I always went crazy. And this went on for almost 2 years until I met this guy called KG. Some of you would know him. He's probably not teaching anymore. He's gone into some other adventure. Now, I'm showing you these things with real people's name. I'm showing you real people. Why? Because I want you to see that I went through the same thing I'm going to ask you to go through. Right? I went through the same thing. I was broke, penniless. I had no money on me. There was this friend of mine who eventually gave me 750 pounds at that time. That's a lot of money, a lot of money. 750 pounds gave me, and that was how I took that money. I was looking at the money and I was like, should I buy food with this money or should I train with this money? I had to go the hard way. I had to get me a mentor, which is that guy you see right there. And some of you may know him, but he doesn't do these things anymore. All right. He has left it to people like us. So, I got 750 pounds from a friend and I got myself this guy who was going to teach me business analysis and project management. The same way I'm going to be teaching you a couple more skills like product ownership and, Scrum mastering. So, you know, he helped me see a lot of things that I didn't see even while I was a PhD student. Can you imagine? As a PhD student. And then I was hearing the kind of money because it was so lucrative. I mean, it's still very lucrative. Tech is still very lucrative. I was seeing a lot of testimonials, a lot of people coming up then back in the UK. Like back then in the UK when we used to do like, what do they call it now? Contract jobs. Before the introduction of this IR35 or something, you could make a lot of money. Like guys were making about Guys were making about 900, quid, 900 pounds in a day. Like people were buying Porsche. I'm not even joking. I'm telling you that they were buying Porsche. So I got like interested. I was like, my PhD cannot give me this. Do you understand? So I talked with my wife and I said, listen, I have to do this. It's a big money, but I have to pay for it. So I went ahead and I made that payment. And honestly, you can read my story on LinkedIn. It's featured on my page. I paid the price to upskill, but I can tell you that it's one of the best investment I made for myself. Looking back now, it's one of the best investments I made. I get to leave the hustle life behind. I get to live the life that I want. I get to, I do not have to work multiple jobs anymore to feed or provide for my family. I can live on my own terms. I know that I have the skill set that is relevant for today's age. So, that's just me. I can go back and I'm a drummer, so I love to go to church and drum. So that gives me time to do what I want to do. I'm also a gamer. For those of you who play FIFA 24, please be my guest. All right. So, that's my story. And I just said all of that so that I can inspire you to that you can start from where you are. You can take the leap. You can take the leap. I had no idea what these things were at the time. I had no idea of what these things were. And I had to take the leap. All right. You can also aspire to live the life that you want. You don't have to live life on other people's terms. All right. But listen, I tell people if you must be somebody you've never been before, then you have to do something you've never done before or get a skill set that you've never had before. It's as simple as that. You can't expect to be the same way, have the same skill set, have the same mindset, and expect to earn more than where you currently are. It's not possible. I remember when I first migrated to Canada, I was in the car and I was telling my wife at the time, I was like, one day I'm going to be making 10,000 in a month. And then I told her again, one day I'm going to be making 20,000 in a month. And then I told her again, one day I'm going to be making 30,000 in a month. Listen, you can't grow beyond the level of your mindset. It's just like you trying to remember what you don't know, except by revelation. You see? So you can aspire to live the life that you want, but listen, you can dare to dream. Everybody's welcome to dream. That's why you're on this call anyway. All right. But you would also learn to take actions. And for those of you who are on this call, you've already taken the first action. All right. And now I'm going to give you knowledge. I'm going to tell you things you probably do not know. It's now left to you to do whatever you want to do with that knowledge. I have done my part the same way somebody did it for me a couple of years back. Somebody gave me the opportunity to see what exactly I could become. And then I took, the rest was in my court. The rest was in my court. All right. So, and I'm going to do the same thing for you today, especially for those of you on this call. I promise you, I'm going to give you something very ridiculous as far as discount goes. I've never done this before, but this time around, I'm very, very motivated to do it because I know, the kind of stories and the kind of testimonies I've had in the past few days. Honestly, I am motivated to do so. Okay. Somebody just gave me a testimony of a job they got. Okay. It's a product lead role. All right. Of $150,000 in a year. Like, I can't. When I started this, I wasn't even thinking that I could help people move from 20,000, 50,000 to that kind of amount. So I'm very much blown away. Okay. So let's dive right in. I don't want to waste your time anymore. I've given you the basic intros, and I see that there's been a lot of people coming. So I think we're in the right spot to get started. All right. And I'm going to give you an intro to business analysis. Remember, in the course of these 2 days, I'm going to help you see business analysis. I'm going to help you see certain things beyond just a taster session. I don't like calling this a taster session because it is not it. It's not a taster session. I've seen people take the little things we give them on these sessions and they become something with it. People like Lillian, right? So that's why I don't like calling it a taster session. I would rather call it a masterclass because it is simply that. All right. Now, things may be a bit fast paced because this is not a boot camp. All right. And we've just got 2 days. All right. But I will give you time towards the end of the class to ask your questions because I know some of you will have quite a lot of questions. It's a webinar. You are not able to, unmute yourself. So towards the end of the class, I'm going to unmute you. You can, we can have a good conversation. We can have a good chat. We can have a tete-a-tete. I can answer your questions because I know there's so many of you looking to ask questions. All right. Okay, but at this time, I'm going to introduce you to the subject of business analysis. Maybe if we have the time towards the end, I will also take you a step further towards Scrum mastering and product ownership. But if that doesn't happen today, guys, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Is that okay? I showed you the content. For those of you who joined late, let me take a step back and show you what exactly we're going to be doing in the course of the 2 days. All right. Just let me take a step back. So I've done all of these, my transition story. Who is this for? Now, I want you to understand business analysis, all of these, how to build a product, software development lifecycle, the MVP. I'm going to help you see Scrum and Kanban, this other roles, Scrum Master, Product Owner roles, how to leverage your previous experience. Probably we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Now, for those of you in the UK, the masterclass will continue tomorrow at 7 p.m. BST. Now, if you're joining from other parts of Europe, try and do that conversion in your head. You will get a reminder, of course. You can bring a friend along who is interested, and you will also have access to the recording afterwards, okay? But please stick around because I'll be giving you, like I said, it's very stupid. It's a stupendous discount between today and tomorrow for those of you who are attending this session, all right? Okay, let's jump right in. Okay, so quickly, if you're new to business analysis, like new to this thing, new to business analysis, no experience, nothing, you're a novice, I want to see you. Can you put yes in the chat? You are new. Like this for you is like new. This is a new thing you're trying to understand. It's a new thing you're trying to know. I want to see, yes in the chat for if you're that kind of person. Now, if this is not new to you, don't put yes. I just want to have a feel of those in my audience. How many of you are really new to these, to the subject of business analysis, and we'll go from there. Okay, I see quite a lot of people saying yes, they are new. Okay, thank you so much. And I know some of you are not new to these. Some of you are even practicing BAs, and I really appreciate your time for jumping on the call. So please keep me in order or keep me honest if there's something I'm saying that doesn't really affect or reflect as practice in business analysis. But trust me, I know my onions and been doing this for quite a while. You may learn a thing or two too. Okay, so please get ready, tighten your seatbelt, get your books out, get your pen out, start writing your questions. You will see if there's anything you don't understand, you'll see a Q&A box, Please put your questions there. I will make sure that I attend to every single question before I leave the call tonight. And then we'll get started again afresh tomorrow on some other, concepts. Okay, now send the link to a friend. If you know a friend who can gain from this, is interested in this, is looking to be a part of this, please send the link to them because we are about to get started. Please send the link to them. Okay, so introduction to business analysis. Now, what I like to do, I have been teaching for quite a while now. All right, I've been teaching for quite a while, and I've been teaching for quite a while now. And what I like to do is I like to, from my practice as a teacher, okay, I like to take you from what you understand. First, I take you from what you understand, and then I take you to what you don't understand. It's easier for me that way. Because if I start from where you are comfortable with, if I start from where you can actually agree with me, it then becomes very easy for me to take you through that journey to where you do not know. And it has worked for me over the years. So that's what I'm going to do. So today, I'm going to start with what we call the concept of change. Is that okay? I'm going to start with what we call the concept of change. So please listen and listen attentively. Now, please observe the following set of slides. Please observe the following set of slides because I'll be engaging you in a bit. You can see here it says 1991 and here it says 2014. Okay, just observe, just observe, just observe. And then there is this picture, which I love so much. Now, for those of you who do not know the person on this picture, I can categorically tell you that it's the same person. Okay? It's the same person. It's just time difference. and probably money differences. All right. The difference between what you see on the left and the right is not two different people. It's time and money. All right. So just helping you to understand that they're not two different people, one person. Okay. Okay. This is another picture I want to put in front of you. So please observe carefully. I know some of you are like, is this business analysis? What the heck is this guy doing? Please just be patient. All right, I'm going to take you where I need to take you to. All right. Please observe that. Observe that, observe that, observe that. Okay, good, good, good. And then I want you to observe this. Observe this. Okay, good. All right. In one word, I want you to tell me what you've observed so far. So drop it in the chat. In one word. Now, don't use the word change. I don't want you to use the word change because that will be, you already know I'm talking about the concept of change. So you want to use the word change, but I want you to use the words that relate to the things that you've seen so far. I showed you a couple of things, right? I want you to think of the words, okay, that relate to some of these things you've seen. I just showed you a set of slides. I want you to think and use your words to kind of express to me what it is, just in one word, what you've seen so far. Oh, thank you. So here I see transition, metamorphosis, growth, transformation with time and resources, innovation, development, upgrade, design. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of things. Remodeling, money time, upscale, change, all right, improvement. So I'm seeing quite a lot of things, and I'm happy that I'm getting this kind of I love a class that is very engaging. So thank you so much for those of you who are putting things in the chat. I really appreciate you because you are the guys, you are the real MVPs. You're the guys who make me talk. So thank you. Upliftment, thank you. So you could see a lot of things used to describe all of these things I showed you, like growth, like rebranding, like transformation, like upgrade, facelift, metamorphosis, reconstruction, remodeling. You see, all these things you've used in addressing or describing what you've just seen in those set of slides. Perfect. Now, you know that all the things you've just said right now, upliftment, metamorphosis, all those things can be categorized. We can put them in one word, one word called change. We can actually represent all that you've said right now in one word called change. How many of you agree with me? That everything you've said so far, whether it be transformation, whether it be upgrade, whether it be upscaling, whatever it is, can be captured in this one word called change. Now, apart from that, I want us to start, like I told you, I want us to start from where we both, on what we both agree on. Okay, I want us to start from where we both agree on. Now, how many of you agree with me that change is inevitable? If you agree with me that whether you like it or not, in this life, you will encounter change. And if you decide not to change, the things around you will change in such a way that if you decide not to change, things will become obsolete. And as a result of the fact that of relativity, it means that things changed. How many of you agree with me that change is inevitable? If you do, please put yes in the chat quickly. Put yes in the chat if you agree with me that change is inevitable. Okay, I see quite a lot of you are agreeing with me. I don't see. Somebody even made it worse. He said, if you don't change, you are dead. All right, it means that you all agree with me, okay? That change is quite inevitable. So thank you for that. Thank you for agreeing with me. Now, let me let you understand that that statement also stands true for many companies that you are eyeing to work for. So those companies you are eyeing to work for or that you currently work for, you see that thing about change stands true. Because if they refuse to change, they will die. If they refuse to change, they will be obsolete. Now, I don't want to preempt a lot of things, but this is the reason why business analysis will not go out of fashion. It will not go out of fashion because change is inevitable. And I will tell you And by reason of by the end of this training, you'll begin to see why that is true. Now, every day, companies are driving change in the form of digital transformation. They're driving change in the form of upgrades. They're driving change in the form of launching new services. They're driving change in the form of rebranding. They're driving change in the form of policy development. They're driving change in the form of organizational changes, process improvements, entering a new market. You see, constantly, every day, companies are driving change. And let me help you understand how change occurs. How does change occur? Now, change occur in one of two ways. Okay? Change occur in one of two ways. The first is by creating something new. When you create something new, we can say or allude to the fact that change occurred. And when you modify something that already exists, you can say that change occurred. How many of you agree with me? Do you know of any other way that change occurs apart from these two? I mean, I'm open to learning. But change typically occurs in one of these two ways. It's either you are creating something new or you are modifying something that was already there. Does that make sense? I'll take that again. Change occurs in one of two ways. The first is creating something new, okay, and modifying something that already exists. Now, let me explain that and put that in context, okay? Let me put that in context for you. So, let's take, for example, okay, during the pandemic, there was a store that didn't have, that was never taking transactions online. They only took transactions in person. And now the Prime Minister says lockdown. Okay? No in-person transaction. Now, this company thinks, oh, wait, they wake up. And then they realize that if they are not able to meet in person, it means there's no business, there's no transaction. So now they decide to create a website. Please listen to this. They decide to create a website where they can take payment. Now, I want you to answer this simple question in the chat. Is the concept of a website a new thing? Is the concept of a website, is it a new thing? Is that a new thing? Okay. Some of you are saying no. Now, for this business, is the concept of a website, is a website a new thing for the business? Yes. Now, because that is the case, then that is change. And these are the kind of changes. Please follow me gradually because I'm going to take you. I know some of you want me to tell you about business analysis, but hold on. I don't teach like that. All right. That's not how I teach. I want you to be able to leave here knowing that you've spent your time properly. Okay. It's not a waste of time. All right. So that's what I want to do. So to that business, it's not something new. Okay, sorry, the concept of a website is not something new, but to the business, implementing a website, that is something new. It's the same way a company is trying to change a process that has already been there, but it's not serving them properly. Maybe that process is inefficient, you see, and they want to modify it. That takes me to the second part, you see. So let's say this company already had the website, and something was not working properly, and then they decide to revamp it or change something. Then number two comes to play, which is modifying something that already exists. And some of you are already recipient of this already. When you wake up in the morning, you see, update your app to version 2.1, update your app to version 2.2, update your app. Sometimes those people are adding new features or they are modifying the one that was already there. So when you get to the company as a BA, all you will be focused on is change. And I'm getting there. I hope you're getting it gradually. Don't worry. I'm taking you there gradually. When you get to your company as a BA, what you'll be focused on is change. And change will either be you doing something new for that company or you modifying something that they already had there. Okay. Now, I can bet you that some of you have been involved in this in the past. where something new was done in your company. I can bet that some of you were involved in something like this in the past, where something that was already in your company, maybe it was a process or a product or a technology, had to be adjusted, mended, modified, or something like that. But you see, when you now hear the word business analysis, you think it's a new thing. So in your mind, you're like, I don't have experience. Between today and tomorrow, I will show you that you have what it takes to go where you need to go. But let's just keep that aside now. I'm just trying to preempt you to help you see that you have what it takes. But let's go. Change. So I have been able to establish that change is either creating something new or modifying something that already exists. Okay? Creating something new or modifying something that already exists. Now, what inspires a change? What initiates a change? When companies undergo a change, when your business undergoes a change, when you as a person undergoes a change, or you decide, okay, this is the new thing I want to do. Can you tell me some of the things that you think inspires that change? Let's go. I want to hear from you. What are the things you think inspire a change? Can you tell me? Desire. Thank you. What else? What else? I like a class that says, please get AI. Jude, God bless you. AI. AI is taking a lot of, it's the AI wave. So people are changing, people are adding new features that has to do with AI. Competition, Wemi. Competition will force you to change certain things. Competition will, I remember when we came into this space and started doing free masterclasses, 2 days free, you know, it forced a lot of people in this space that were teaching, because then people would just get your money, do just, just do anything. And then because you've already paid, that's it. You can't, it's a black box. You can't see what's inside, right? You don't know what they offer, right? So we came and we changed the way things were being done, and so many had to change with us. So you see so many people doing taster sessions these days, they had to change with us because of the competition, right? Survival, thank you. Technology, change of administration. So there's quite a lot of things that can inspire change, and you guys are right. But when you look at everything, whether it is desire, whether it is change of administration, there will be a central thing called the need. Every change is always inspired by a central thing called the need. Think about anything that has put up a change. It's because it was inspired by what is called a need. Maybe you do not understand me properly. Let me now break it down for you. The same way I helped you to understand what a change is, I'm going to help you understand what a need is. Are you okay? So let me help you understand what a need is, just in case you're thinking, I'm just bluffing. But let me help you understand what the need is. Now, I'm not trying to make everything too. I know I told you the change is either, creating something new or modifying something that already exists. And that's like two stuff, right? And then now I'm telling you that a need can actually be this or this. No, it's just that that's the way it is. Okay? Now, a need is either a problem you are trying to solve. And sometimes I tell people, a need is not just a problem you are trying to solve. A need can be an opportunity you are trying to cultivate. A need is not always a problem. A need is also an opportunity. So if there is an opportunity for expansion, an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to adopt a new technology, it's not a problem because the business can still survive, at that stage, but you just want to give some added stuff, right? And there's an opportunity there. Just the same way when we started in Canada, we started seeing our students, join from the UK. Some of them they will stay up at 1 a.m. joining our class here in Canada, and they will not sleep till 4 a.m. Yes, because they loved our classes. And I was like, hold on, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep making these people suffer. Like I know they were not suffering, but I felt their pain. Staying up late at night, 1 a.m. and it takes a lot. Because they were joining us from Canada. So I felt, and I looked at the data, and I saw a lot of, traffic from the UK, from Europe, and I was like, you know what? Let's train more people. Let's be able to see how we can establish something there. And that was how we started the UK. It was not a problem. It was just an opportunity. And then we started, based on that data, we started running, classes in the UK and getting people jobs in the UK. Do you see what I'm talking about? In the UK and in Europe and Africa alike. So need is not always a problem. You must understand that as a BA. Need can also be an opportunity that you're looking and seeking to cultivate. So let me pause here and ask you a relevant question at this point. Are all changes successful? Now, this is a rhetoric, right? You know the answer, but let me hear it from you. Are all changes successful? The answer is a no. It's no. No. Not all changes are successful. Not all changes. So when do we say that a change is successful? A change is successful when it delivers the value and or the intended benefit. Like, when would you say it's a time well used? If you came and spent 3 hours on this class now, at what point would you say you used your time well? Is if you have gained one or two things, which you were anticipating to get. Maybe it's knowledge, maybe it's clarity, maybe it's your questions answered or things like that. You would say, okay, I think my time is well spent. It's the same way with a change. So don't miss where I am coming from. Please stick around, because I know some of you are asking, is this business analysis? Yes, and I'm getting there. Okay, but I need to take you from where you are to where you need to be. Again, I started with the concept of change, and I helped you to see that change could be one of two things. Could be you creating and implementing something completely new. Number two, it could be you modifying something that already existed. Are you getting that? Now, I then moved you on to say that change will not just happen. It is initiated by something. It is kickstarted by something. Okay, it is triggered by something. And that something is called need. N-E-E-D. And then I explained to you that the need is not always a problem. It could also be an opportunity that the company wants to cultivate. Are we there? Now, I moved on a step further to help you see that not all changes are successful. But of course, when companies want to undergo a change, they actually want to make sure it is successful. You see? But not all changes are successful, but companies want to make sure that they are all successful. So what do? I'll tell you. Let's keep going. A change is successful when it delivers value and or intended benefits. Don't lose that. Okay, so let us examine this for a minute, because I'm going to introduce a new concept again. I want you to see, I picked this off the internet at one point on LinkedIn. Somebody posted it and I was like, wow, this explains it. So I took it, and since then it has become a part of my slide. So some of you may have seen this in the past, but maybe not in the context in which I want to explain it right now. So let's examine this for a minute. I would allow 2-3 people to talk, maybe 2 people. I want 2 people to talk. Now, was this a successful change and why? I'm going to allow the first 2 people that raise up their hands. I'm going to unmute you and you're going to tell me your answer. Is this a successful change? Looking at this, was this a successful change and why? 2 people, 2 people. I need 2 people to give me the answers. 2 people. I will mute you and then you can say something. Don't be afraid. The mic doesn't bite. All right. The mic doesn't bite. All right. I need 2 people. 2 people. Just 2 people. 2 bold people. Tell me, is this a successful change? Okay, so I'm allowing you to talk. I've unmuted you. Mr. Rotimi, go ahead.
These are not successful changes at all.
Okay, it's not a successful change.
Because what the customer wanted is not what was produced for the customer.
Mm-hmm. So what the customer wanted is not what was. For
example, in the first picture, you had something like a ladder. The customer explained what he wanted, and there was a ladder there. What you had underneath it, the tree was not even there, not to talk of the ladder.
Can you see that? So that was how it was documented. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I'm going to disable talking now. I need one other person to tell me their perspective. One other person. One other person. One other person. I need one more person to join Rotimi and give me Fumi. Thank you. I'm going to allow you to talk now. Okay, Fumi, go ahead. Go ahead, Fumi. If you're saying something, we can't hear you yet. So maybe your mic, you need to check it. And you can also contribute in the chat though. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. So if you can also contribute in the chat, please. Fumi, I've unmuted you. I see that your mic is on. I see you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you yet. Maybe it has something to do with your mic. If you're using like an external mic, maybe you want to take that off and check first, right? Okay. For me, we can't hear you. I know you want to contribute, but unfortunately, we are not able to hear you. So I'll disable talking. Thank you for trying. Okay. Our customer wanted a ladder included, but a tire underneath the tree was produced. Okay. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Kenny. For me, I'm going to try one more time. Let's try one more time to see if you can talk. Otherwise, we will just, okay. So let's try one more time. I asked you to unmute. Okay. Can we try one more time for me and see if you can say something? Okay. You're not able to. So I'm going to disable talking. Let's try Chidera. Let's try Chidera.
Okay, I would say there was a successful change. Why? On the first picture, the customer explained it as being a ladder. And what we have there is a ladder. But at the last picture, we have a tire. So in a situation whereby you remove a ladder and put a tire for your customer, there has been a change in that aspect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chidera. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. So I got two people talking. I got a couple of people saying things in the chat. So I'm going to read it. I will say information passed wasn't well understood and captured by the project leader. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Wemi, for that. Now, let's take a critical look at this. I'm taking my time here so that at the end of the day, you are living here with no doubt of what this whole thing entails. Does that make sense? That's why I'm taking my time. So please stick with me. Now let's look at this critically. Now look at how the customer explained it. Now look at how the project leader understood it. Look at how the engineer designed it. Look at how the programmer wrote it. Look at how the sales executive, my first job was a sales executive. So I can tell that these guys, they know how to talk. Trust me, they know how to talk. I was a sales engineer, my first job in an oil and gas company. I sold to top oil and gas company, different chemicals and stuff like that. So I know what it means to be a sales executive. That's their job. All right. Look at how the project was documented. Okay. Look at how it was, look at how it was documented. Look at what the operations installed. Look at how the customer was built. Come on. I pity this customer. Look at how it was built like a roller coaster. As though they were building a roller coaster for him. Oh, this is terrible. And look at how the help desk supported it. But the intriguing part, the weird thing I got to discover was that, hold on, okay? The first thing, okay, before I tell you the intriguing part, let me read what Ifeanyi said. Ifeanyi said, I'm not too sure of the total breakdown, but I could say this was a successful change. Sometimes the customer wants something, but in the end after cycles, the BA actually brings up and deploys better options than even what the customer wanted in the first place. Oh, God will bless you, Ifeanyi, for that. Yes, the BA actually brings up better options at the end of the day in some cases. But in this particular case, it's not the case because we don't even have a BA. That's the problem, right? But here's the thing. Look at what the customer really needed inside his mind of minds. Okay, inside his heart, inside his head, what the customer really wanted was this. This was what the customer really wanted. So it means that even if they had gone ahead to understand what he explained, they will still have produced something that was not, that cannot equate to what he actually wanted. How many of you understand what I'm saying? So this is what he actually really wanted. But he himself has a problem in explaining his need. Now you begin to see why they will pay you some money to be a BA. Why they will pay you money? Because a BA will need to understand the need. It's called need assessment. It's not enough for somebody to tell you, I want to build ABC. A BA does what is called elicitation, not gathering. Gathering is you gathering a requirement that is already there, which is fine. Elicitation is you igniting and inciting the ones that were not even there, that you even, the ones you didn't even know you needed. Does that make sense? Like when some of my students come in for the project session and they start asking me questions, I'm like, what? I didn't know that I needed this on this project. Like last week Friday, so they are building AfroShop 1.1, the last cohort. They are working on their project right now. So they came for a session. All right. And they were bombarding me with questions and asking me questions and saying, okay, so what would you like to see, or what would these people like to see on their earning dashboard, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's a good question. I really don't know, but I can ask. And, they started making me think about the things that I needed. And honestly, if you had a BA here, a BA would have helped the team to understand exactly what this customer needed. Nobody questioned this guy. Nobody asked him questions, the right questions, to be able to fully get them to the point where they understood his need. At the end of the day, project leader misunderstood it. The engineer, something else. Programmer, sales, even the project hardly had a documentation, which is what a BA will do. I will tell you later. I will show you those things. The project hardly had a documentation where everybody could be on the same page. Look at what operations did. Look at how the customer was built. Look at how help desk supported it. Of course, there was the value that was intended here was not actually realized. So this is definitely not a successful project. This was not a successful project. But there are certain things we can learn from here, which I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of minutes. The first thing you can see from this diagram or from this picture, okay, that in the context of a business, in the context of an organization, in the context of a change, typically, or in the context of change in businesses and change in organizations, it will usually involve different parties. That is the first thing you quickly see. Let's go back there again. You see that there's a project leader, engineer, programmer, sales, operations. You see that when it now comes to organization and change, there is no way you carry out change in an organization that it's a solo man business. No. Change in organizations, in big organizations, in businesses, is not typically a one-man thing. Okay? It is, okay? Sales, change in an organization typically will involve different parties. Are you getting me? Because that is what you see here. That is what you see here. That is what you see here. It will involve different parties. That's the first thing you get to realize. Now, the next thing is that these parties will need to align. These parties will need to align. They will need to understand themselves. They will need to, understand, and they will need to align on a common perspective, on a common objective, on a common goal. They will need to align on the change. They will need to align on the solution. They will need to align on the approach. They will need to align on other ingredients that mold the change. Are you getting me? Yeah, they will need to. All right. Now, these parties will now come together on what is called a project. So when you have a BA friend, how many of you have a BA friend? Put it in the chat, let me see. If you have a BA friend, just put 1 in the chat, let me see. You have a BA friend, or you are a BA yourself, just put 1 in the chat. None of you have a BA friend. Please go and make a BA friend. Oh. If you're looking to become a BA, please go and make a BA friend. Come on. Okay, we will be your friend. Okay, if you don't have BA friends, all right? Yeah, you should have a BA friend. At least, especially for those of you who want to do a course like this. when we give you our brochure, you can show it to them and say, these guys want to teach me this thing. Does this make sense? Is this what I need? Okay, because at the end of the day, you guys will be able to see our brochure when you go to, let me just show you that quickly. So you can go to our brochure here. So you'll see everything you learn. Okay, everything you learn will be in this brochure. So it's good sometimes to have like a BA friend where you can bounce this thing off so that they can tell you whether this is a right thing for you or not. Okay, of course, I can tell you 100% this is way more than, it's way more than the average thing you will get. I can tell you for sure. That's why I'm confident. All right. Okay, so let's get back here so that we don't lose track. All right, so usually these parties will come together, okay, on what is called a project. Project, what is a project? A project is a sequence of tasks that you must complete to attain a certain outcome. All right? So the project now becomes the vehicle for the change. Typically, BAs, they don't tell BAs, I want to put you on a change. No, you don't say that. You don't hear that. They don't say, oh, come, Mr. BA, I want to put you on a change. That's not what you hear. You hear, come, I want to put you on a project. Does that make sense? So project then becomes the vehicle for the change. Okay? So these parties will come together to try to pursue that change through the vehicle of the project. Now, my question will be, who will help these different parties that have come to this project now? Who will help these different parties align on the components of the change? Who will help them align on the product, align on the difficulties, align on the problem, align on what should be done, align on the features, align on the pain point, align on what we should do later, align on the process, on the need, on the steps involved, on what is changing, on what you should do now, on the solution, on the opportunity? Who is going to help them align on the components of the change? Your guess is as good as mine. It's that guy called Abi, the BA, Abiodun, the BA, Adekbeju, the BA, Chidera, the BA, Krista, the BA, James, the BA, Jude, Julius, Kenny, Latif. I'm just mentioning the names I can see here. So if I don't mention your name, it doesn't mean that you don't qualify to be a BA. Tolulope, the BA, Vicky, the BA, Wemi, Yeti, the BA, okay, Sefinat, the BA, Sandeep, the BA. So that person is the BA. I know some of you may be like, oh, but Michael, but some people do these things you're saying and they are not BA. Okay, that's why we are here. That's why we are here. So stick around. Yeah. Some people do these things you're saying, but they are enemy. They don't call them BAs. Okay, I get you. I agree with you. I agree with you. That's why we're here. Just stick around. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. All right. So now that you know this, let me now take you into understanding business analysis. Is that okay? Okay. Let me now take you to understand business analysis. Now you can now see where I am taking you to. I've helped you understand change, the concept of change, why change is instigated, the type of change, what constitutes change, right? Okay. I've helped you to see need. I've helped you to see that typically a change in a business context will happen on a project. I've helped you to see that, what it means for a change to be successful. I've helped you to see that different parties will be involved in a change. I've helped you to see that it then becomes paramount that somebody is there to align all these components and align all these people together and do what needs to be done to make sure that this change is successful. And then I finally landed at the point where a BA is the person who will be doing this. But then there's more to this. I want you to leave here knowing exactly what exactly does business analysis entail. What exactly is this business analysis we're talking about? Now, I'll give you the textbook example or the textbook definition, and then I'm going to break it down one word after the other. I'll take some specific words, and then I'm going to break it down. And at the end of the day, you should be able to understand exactly what a BA will do or a BA does. Is that okay? All right, let's go. Now, I'm going to take my definition from a well-acclaimed business analysis guide. It's called the IIBA Babok Guide. Let me explain. IIBA stands for International Institute of Business Analysis. And then Babok stands for Business Analysis Book of Knowledge. Okay, it's a textbook. It's a big one like this. And then, of course, it's a guide. And it has gone through 3 installments. So 3 revisions. And this is the version 3.0. So I took this definition from that book. Is that okay? For those of you who like textbooks. I took that definition, this definition in front of you. I took it from the doc. So let's go. Business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs. Some of these words look familiar, right? Change, need, right? Aha, aha. So business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. All right. Some of you already understand what I'm talking, but some of you still need me to flog this a little bit more, break it down a little bit more, which is why I'm here anyways. All right, so let's do that. So I'm going to take some keywords which will help you understand this even better. All right, and I'm going to break it down. Those keywords are change, which we already talked about, enterprise, which I'm going to tell you one or two things about, need, which we already talked about, solution, which I'm going to tell you one or two things about, and then value, and then stakeholders. So grab popcorn, grab your seatbelt, grab your book, your pen and paper, whatever that helps you to stay focused here. I need your attention for the next 15 minutes. Very important. For the next 15 minutes, I need your attention. If that's all you're going to give me for the next, for today, the next 15 minutes, I'm okay. You can log off after. But after 15 minutes, you would have understood exactly what business analysis is about. And then we can always navigate from there. But the next 15, 20 minutes is critical to this class. So please, and you're going to show me that you're actually worth being a BA. Because one of the fundamental feature or characteristic or attribute, okay, or competency of a BA is being able to listen. The first thing in communication is listening. I know many people think the first thing in communication is talking. No, the first thing in communication is listening. And as a good BA, you need to be a good communicator. In other words, you need to be a good listener. Whenever they call me for reference for my students, I don't fail to tell them that, listen, this person is a good communicator. Not because he writes good requirements, not because he does this or does that. Of course, he does those things, but because he's a good listener. Oh, and they're usually blown away by those references. Yeah, absolutely. So please give me your attention for the next 15, 20 minutes. Is that okay? Let's go. Now, I already told you about change. I told you what change is. I said change is either creating something new, number one, or modifying something that already exists. We already established that. I told you that already. Now, if you take that and substitute it into this definition, this is what you're going to have. That business analysis is the practice of enabling something new. So hold on. So it means that when you come into business analysis, what you're simply doing is enabling something new. Okay, that sounds like something we've talked about. Okay, so what you're doing when you come into business analysis is actually modifying something that may already be there, just to make it better. You see, like an inefficient system, like an inefficient process, like maybe a new product or a product that was already there, and then there are certain features that were not, performing optimally, or a technology. Okay, I'm going to get there. But you can see right off the bat that business analysis is the practice of enabling change, which is enabling something new, net new for that company, or it was already there and it just needed a tweaking. It just needed a revamp. It just needed a modification. Okay, so business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists in an enterprise. I know when you hear this, a lot of things come to your mind. You're like, enterprise, enterprise, enterprise. What a big word. But hold on, it's not as complex as you think. Enterprise. When you say enterprise, the question I have for you is, what makes up an enterprise? An enterprise is actually an organization. It's another word for organization or a group of organizations. So basically, when you say enterprise, you're talking organization. But let me ask you a very simple question. What do you think make up an organization? Their products, their processes. Because if these things are not there, you don't have an organization. So let's break that down. That an organization is essentially the product, essentially the processes, essentially the policies, essentially the technology that power whatever systems they use, or other subsets of the organization. How many of you agree with me on that one? Like, you don't have an organization outside these things. Trust me, you don't. How many of you agree with me that that's an enterprise? It's the product, it's the process, it's the policies, it's the technology that runs those things, and other subsets of the. How many of you agree with me? Because if you don't agree with me, then we can't move on. Right? Yes, also people. Of course, people. I deliberately took people out there away from there because, of course, people are going to be definitely there. Yes, people. Yes, people. People is also an essential part of that. Yes, 100%. Okay? So products, processes, policies, technology, and other subsets of the organization. And people can be there. All right? In that subset of the organization, like your the departments, okay, will also be there. People will also be there when you can talk about other subsets. So processes, policies, products, people, technology, other subsets of the organization. This is what makes up the enterprise. You see that? Perfect. Okay, now let's go ahead. Now, if you take that, okay, all right, now the reason why I deliberately put people under other subset of the organization is simple, and I'm going to tell you here. Now, look at this. Business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists in a product. So meaning that when you are performing a change in an enterprise, this definition makes it look as if it is very, it's a very big thing. But if you really want to look at it, what you're simply doing is creating a new product or modifying the one that was there, or creating a new process and modifying the one that was there. Or, listen to this part now, which sounds awkward, creating a new people or modifying the ones that was there. Now, how do you create a new people? Training. You train them. So a business analyst can be involved in training people. You see, that's why I deliberately didn't want to put people there. Because when you say create a new people or modify the people, you'll be like, how do you modify people? How do you create people? Aha. So now you understand that in creating a new set of people or in helping people understand the change, training can be involved. You see that? Aha. So let me skip this and come back here and let's put it back. All right. So this will now read, business analysis is the practice of enabling something new like a product, something new like a process, something new like the people by training them, something new like the technology, something new like the department, something new or modifying the ones that were already there, the people that were already there by training them, giving them new information, or modifying the system that was there, the product that was there, the policies that was there. Are you getting me? Right? So if you took this out and took this out, it will now make a lot of sense to you. That the BA, okay, is there to modify or implement a new policy, if that is what the company wants to do. A new product, if that is what the company wants to do. Modify a product that was already there, if that is what the company wants to do. Modify the technology that they had. Like I remember when a bank came A bank wanted to do a digital transformation, so they wanted to know the kind of CMS, content management system, the technology that they'll be using. So as a BA at the time, what I did was to do what is called an options analysis. So I did an options analysis. I looked at several CMS packages, CMS systems, content management system is what I mean by CMS. Now, at that point, I didn't even know what CMS is. That's the thing. That's the good thing about being a BA. You don't need to know. You don't, and I will show you maybe tomorrow when I'm teaching about the competencies of a BA. You don't need to know these things because that is why you came in the first place. Somebody's saying, this one is not, I don't understand it. Don't worry, hold on. I worked on a health project, banking project, financial project, finance project, several types of project where I did not know anything going into the project. I didn't know jack going into that project. But as a BA, this is one of the things you do. You see, they give you the time to get up to speed with certain information. And I'm going to talk about that later. But let's keep going on track. So business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists, which could be a product, which could be the process, which could be the people. And in terms of people, again, training, okay, which could be the policies, which could be the technology or other subsets of the organization by defining. So the first thing that needs to be done is need, is the definition of the need. And if you go back to that picture that I showed you, you begin to realize that the need was not assessed. There was nobody to assess the need. First failure on that thing was that there was nobody to assess the need. Look at. There was nobody. But business analysis is saying that the first step to a change is need definition, need assessment. And all these things are the things that we're going to be teaching. Okay, so let's keep going. So it says, defining the needs. Okay, let's break that down. That the need is actually problems, opportunities, pain points, right? Problems or opportunities to be cultivated, problems to be solved. That is what we refer to as the need. So put that back. You have business analysis is the practice of enabling something new, enabling or modifying something that was already there, which could be a product, which could be a process, which could be the people, which could be the policies, which could be the technology, by first understanding the problem that these people have, the problem that this system have, the problem that this policy has, the opportunities that we can help these people achieve, the opportunities that we can help this organization achieve, the pain points that they are currently going through, etc. And then by the time you start gathering this information and eliciting this information, you will get to the point where you have enough information to now do the next set of things. Recommend solution. And it doesn't have to come from you. It doesn't have to come from you. That's the best part. It doesn't have to come from you because your work is a team sport. And I'm going to talk about that later, not now. It's a team sport. You don't work solo. You're not a solo worker. You work with other people. So don't think that this recommendation has to be carried on your head. Adegbeju. Don't think that this has to be carried on your head. Dr. John, Crystal. No, you have other people you rely on. You rely on their understanding of that system. You rely on their understanding and also some of the things that you have done as part of your research or, gathering information or eliciting information. Okay, so first by defining the needs and recommending solution. Hold on, what is solution? What can you consider to be solution? What can you consider to be solution? An approach is a solution. So if you're going through something and I give you an approach, that's a solution. If you're going through something and I give you a design, that's a solution. If I go through something and I tell you technology that can work, that's a solution. If you're going through something and I tell you the features you can add, that's a solution. If I tell you the steps that can be taken instead of the one that you're taking right now, that's a solution. How many of you agree with me? That solution can appear in any of these forms: approach, design, technology, features, steps in the process. So basically, all you're simply trying to do is work with your team so that at the end of the day, your team can now come up with an approach. Your team can now come up with a design. Your team can now come up with technology. Your team can now come up with features. Your team can come up with steps, and people in your team could be like a product manager, your project manager, your all of that, you know, they are doing the thinking also for you. Interesting. Okay, so you see, to deliver solutions, and solutions could be an approach, a design, technology, features, or any of these steps. So now let's put that back into the equation. That business analysis is the practice of enabling change, which is something new or modifying something that already exists in an enterprise, which could mean in a product, in a process, in the policies, in the technology, by first defining what problems exist, what opportunities exist, what pain points are they going through, and then by reason of the understanding that you've gathered, the information that you now have, the elicitation that you've made, the, you know, whatever it is that is available to you, okay, you can now begin to recommend solution, which could be a feature, 2 features, 3 features, an approach, the design that you would work with the designer to create. It could be a process or a new step in a process that you need to eliminate or introduce. You see, you recommend solutions that will deliver value. What is value? Benefit. That will deliver benefit. That will deliver benefits to who? To the stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders? Everybody and anybody that is affected or that affects the project. So hold on there. So stakeholder is not just the person using this thing. The stakeholder is everybody that is affected by it and the ones that can affect it. So meaning that if I am the government and you are working in a project that is sensitive to data or people's data, it means that I have to make sure that the things that I'm producing, okay, does not go against my law, my GDPR law. Because if it does, then I'm going to truncate your solution before it even becomes anything, right? So it means that you have to provide value to me too. So a BA looks at all the people involved and all the parties involved and everybody and make sure that nobody is missing when we are putting together the solution for this thing. Nobody is missing. Everybody is benefited in one way or the other. How do you benefit the developer? The developer has what he needs to be able to build. He has the requirements. So when you look at this wholesomely, you are able to then conclude that the business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists in a product, in a process, in a policy, or etc., by defining the problems, by defining the opportunities, by defining the pain points, and recommending features, recommending steps in the process, which you don't do as a solo person, okay? Recommending the design and the approach that deliver benefits to everybody and anybody that is affected or that affects the project. That is business analysis. If you understand what business analysis is at this point, like you were a novice, you never had this before, you didn't know what this was, but by reason of this definition and breakdown, you kind of begin to understand exactly what we're talking about here. Can you put yes in the chat quick? Can you put yes in the chat quickly? If you have gotten to the point where this makes sense to you, all right? Can you put yes in the chat for me? Can you put yes in the chat for me? Quickly. Because that is the point of doing this. Tomorrow we'll talk about Scrum Master product ownership, which is the same thing we'll be doing everything in this course. All right. So, okay. Now remember that this is where we started from. That business analysis is the practice of enabling change. I see a lot of you saying yes, so that makes sense. Okay. So business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. And then again, I'm just putting this again in front of you. So this is the skill garage definition. So what I just did for you, this is you won't see this definition elsewhere. You won't see this definition elsewhere. If you see it elsewhere, they took it from us. I can tell you that 100%. Not being braggadocious, but it's the truth. If you see this definition elsewhere, they took it from here. Point blank. Question them, ask them where they got it from. Because we sat down to put this together for our students. So business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists in a product, in a process, in a policy by defining the problems, opportunities, pain points, and recommending features, steps in the process, design, approach, everything that deliver benefit to everybody and anybody that is not just affected, but affects the project. That then gives you a full picture of business analysis. In conclusion, there are several things that business analysis will involve. Number one, it will involve needs assessment. Okay, I'm not going to go deep into these things. I'm going to talk more about them in the bootcamp. Okay, needs assessment. So meaning that you have to sit with the person that has the need and try to understand the need, why they have the need, how often the need is there, and all of that stuff. If it is the opportunity, what is the magnitude of this opportunity? Why do they consider it an opportunity? What is the ROI and things like that? You may want to understand it from the perspective, and all those things we're going to talk about. Then, secondly, there will be stakeholder engagement. Yeah, from all that we've said so far, you will discover that this is a role where you will engage people. I know some of you are now saying, I am an introvert. I don't know how to talk to people. I love to keep to myself. What job do you keep to yourself? In what job do you never talk? Like you never say anything in your job? Nobody's saying you should go and start talking when you don't need to talk. You talk only when you're needed to talk. I mean, introverts talk, right? It's just that they talk only when they need to talk. I remember I remember a lady that called me one Sunday and said, I like the class, but I don't want to join because I'm an introvert. I don't think it will work for me. Today, when I call her, I make fun of her because she's making almost $250,000 from two jobs because she works from home now. She does two jobs. She makes almost $250,000 from those two jobs. I said, do you remember when you called me and told me you're an introvert? Are you still an introvert? I said, no, the money has opened my mouth. He said, the money has opened my mouth. I would laugh and laugh and laugh. All right. So don't think because you engage stakeholder, then it means that you are simply a talkative or you're an extrovert. No, that's not the meaning. Okay. Okay. Stakeholder engagement means that you are carrying them along every step of the way. If you need some information from them, you get that information and there's a way to go about it. And we're going to talk about that, in much later stuff. Okay, so you do what is called requirement elicitation and confirmation. So meaning that you are extracting information. Okay, you're extracting information. You're trying to get information. All right. And then once you get that information, you look at it critically and then document it. Remember in the picture I showed you, there was no documentation. Documentation was almost zero. Documentation was almost zero. So how will people know what is being implemented? And this is where you come in as a BA. So you would see that really those guys actually failed on that project because they didn't have a BA to do all these things that I'm telling you about. Requirement analysis, documentation, traceability, and monitoring. Okay, tracing where the requirement came from. Who told you to do this? Was it Mr. Crystal that told you to do this? So you can trace where that requirement is coming from, the need that birthed that requirement. And then at the end of the day, when something has been implemented, you can actually evaluate if it was the right thing you did. It's called solution evaluation. And you see that? So all of these things will be involved in business analysis. Now, I know you already know what business analysis is, but I want to show you something quickly, which is going to be a segue to some of the things I'll be saying tomorrow, especially about those of you who think you don't have work experience. And you'll be asking, how then do I gain experience? Where is experience? I don't have experience. Can you call experience? Okay. This is the first thing I'm going to say to you, and it's from the textbook. So listen to this. I know you already know what a business analyst is, but I'm just bringing this to you just so that you can see something. A business analyst is any person who performs business analysis task, no matter their job title or organizational role. And it's from the IIBA Bible Guide. This right here is the key to transition into a business analysis career easily. This is how a Yoruba teacher has become a business analyst. This is how somebody who worked in the bank became a business analyst. This is how a customer service person became a business analyst. Because when you sit one-on-one with a mentor, I can tell you, some of you say, but I work in the hospital. I've seen a dentist. I've been doing this for 3 years plus. So I can tell you what I've seen. I've seen numerous. I've seen more than over 300 people get jobs. So I can tell you the different kind of people. I've seen dentists. You see, I've seen, as long as you have a diploma, all right? So I always tell people, at least have a diploma, right? I've seen dentists, I've seen engineers, I've seen marketers, I've seen customer service, I've seen PSW, personal support worker, care workers. I've seen them transition into BAs. Okay? All right? All right, I've seen them. Yeah. All right, so I've seen them. I've seen them go through this. Now, it's a question of how then do you relate the things you've done in the past to where you are now? Maybe tomorrow, I'm going to show you some of the CVs we've helped people to prepare, because I will tell you our system. What we do is you go through a general session for your resume. It's called I can't do that in this free session. It's a rigorous, it's a 2.5-hour class. It's called Resume Clinic, okay? Where I will teach you about work experience. I know some of you think work experience is about the number of years. I will change your mindset. I can't teach that in this class, all right? Because there's a level of trust. You need to trust me over time for me to be able to bring you the information I want to bring you. If I bring it to you here, it's like throwing it to people who don't appreciate it. So I can't teach it here. It's a 2.5-hour class I teach, standard. You can ask any of my students that have been, if for those of you who know any of my students, you can ask them. It's a 2.5-hour class that I teach. I tell you what are the dimensions for measuring work experience. I teach you what work experience is for a repetitive job. Okay. I tell you, how you can leverage, certain things, which I'm gonna touch on some of those things tomorrow. All right. But honestly, this is it. This is where it all hinges on, right? So a business, and I'm going to show you some CVs tomorrow, so please remind me. Okay, a business analyst is any person who performs business analysis tasks, no matter their job title or organizational role. So if you have ever added value to an organization or process in the following ways: if you've driven change, if you've improved business processes, if you've helped to launch a new product or service, if you've improved the current state of a product or service, if you've helped a business to maximize profit and save costs, if you've made a process more efficient, if you've helped the business gain competitive advantage, if you've recommended solutions to prevailing business problems, if you've helped the business maximize opportunities by entering a new market, and so on, as I can keep going on and on and on. We just need to hear your specific story. Like Nosa. Nosa had this situation. He worked in the bank, FCMB back in Nigeria. I think it was FCMB, where they did this project where they made the ATM card for students. They made it dual function. Okay, so it could work as an ID card and an ATM card. Wow. And I said, you did that in the bank? He said, yes. I said, what? And then we changed it into a project. At the end of the day, he was surprised. He was shocked. He was shocked. In fact, I'm forced to show you a few things, and I will show you by the end of this call. He was shocked how we could change that simple thing, that simple thing he think he did, that is not like an experience. He was shocked how he was able to use that to get his first job that pays him $95,000 at $95,000 a year with the government of Saskatchewan. Yeah. So some of you have some of these things in your previous experience that you can leverage, that you can use. Some of you were business owners. So why are you not using it? Why are you not using that experience? Why? Okay. So If you've driven change, improved business process, helped launch a new product or service, improved the current state of a product or service, helped a business to maximize profit and save costs, made the process more efficient, helped the business gain competitive advantage, recommended solutions to prevailing business problems, helped the business maximize opportunities by entering a new market, and so on, then you're a business analyst. You're the only one who is not aware. You're the only one who is not aware. Pathetic, right? Yeah, you're the only one who is not aware. You are a business analyst. I say it with my full chest. You are a business analyst. So let me quickly do something. Now, look at all of this. How many have you been able to do? Or how many have you done in the past? If you've done 7, put 7 over 9. If you've done 9, put 9 over 9. If you've done 1, put 1 over 9. If you've not done anything here in this list, don't worry. If you've not done anything in this list, put 0 over 9. It's not a problem. So let me see you. Put in the chat. How many do you think you've done here? 7 over 9, 2 over 9, 6 over 9, 3 over 9, 0 over 9. I want to see. And if it is 0 over 9, please put 0 over 9. Because sometimes people put 0 over 9, but when we do one-on-one with them, you see that they have a lot. So don't worry. Even if it's 0 over 9, at least you will do a project with us, right? You do a project. So that can be your 1 over 9. All right? So put it in the chat. Now, if you have any questions, can you put your question in the Q&A, please? All right? Put your questions in the Q&A. We're going to attend to every single question today, right? I'm going to stop early today so that I can take questions because it's day one. Then tomorrow, I will go into some more things, right? Okay, but we still got a few more minutes to stay on the call. So I will teach for maybe another 30 minutes, and then we can take questions. So I see a lot of people say 7 over 9, 3 over 9, 5 over 9, 8 over 9, okay? 4 over 9, which makes sense. So we are able to take that and then, let me show you an example so that you kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about, because some of you may not fully comprehend what I'm trying to do here. So let me take an example and show you. Give me a minute. I'm going to take an example and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you an example. Just give me a minute. Let me show you an example. I think that may help you to kind of understand one or two things. Okay, I'll show you somebody who was a business development manager. That was his role in an oil company. In an oil company. Because sometimes what you need is a mentor. You see? Because some of you, I can see somebody in the chat saying, I've done this before and this and that. I was not your mentor. We all teach differently. The difference between here and there is probably the people involved. Yeah, obviously. Okay, look at this guy. Okay, I'm going to hide his name. But look at this guy. Look at this. There's nothing. The only things we did here was to bump things up a little bit to give the project reputation. Because listen, let me tell you something. How you show up is how you will be addressed. You see, how you show up is how you'll be addressed. If you show up as small, I will address you as small. If you show up as big, I will address you as big. So the only things we did to the experience you see here is we incorporated what he learned in the training and also bumped up certain figures to show how huge that project is. But this guy is only saying the things that he did as a business development manager. Look at this. Pioneered the digitization of operational management for Africa's largest petrol filling stations and 30 outlets. Now, if I mention the name of this filling station, some of you may not even know it. But listen, how you present yourself is how I will see you. It's as simple as that. It pioneered the digitization of operational management for Africa's largest petrol filling stations and 30 outlets. Achieved 60% increase in operational performance and client. Now, somebody who was just working but I remember when he came to me and he told me the things he was doing, and I was listening, and I was like, I said, do you know this is interesting? Do you know how much we can get from this? Do you know what we can do with this experience? He was laughing. He said, is it not just that small filling station? I say, relax. There's a lot we can do with that. So tell me, did they have a management system? He said, yes, they had a management system. Because by the time you've gone through a training, you then understand the context of the training and how it applies to certain things. I will not go into that today. But let's look at a few things. Digitization efforts led to blah, 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 blah. Implemented a $1 million petrol station management system by collaborating, which is something new. So meaning that he implemented something new. Are you seeing that? He implemented something new, which is the petrol station management system, by collaborating with business stakeholders and developers, enabling the automation of critical procedures, facilitating more accurate data-driven decision-making, resulting in 60% increase in data accuracy and 20% in operational efficiency. The person looking at this already can tell that this guy has substance. He has something. He has something that he has done. We now begin to take all those little things we have learned in business analysis, like the BPMN, to now add to certain activities that could have been done in that process. Now, some of you that are smart can already begin to write your CV with what I'm telling you now. I don't need to go into detail. Some of you that are really very smart can already begin to write your CV. While some of you will still need somebody to guide you. And all this that we wrote here is not strange to him. It's not something that he has to go and lie. He can talk about it because they actually used it in their petrol station. It's just that now we have magnified it. Do you understand? You have magnified your office. Anybody that reads this will be like, wow. And I can show you another, and I can show you another, and I can show you another. Somebody who moved from a customer service to a customer service business analyst. Yes, it exists. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You see what I'm talking? So I will talk a bit more about this tomorrow, all things being equal. I'm going to talk a bit more about this tomorrow, leveraging your past experience and things like that. And then we can have some good conversation along that line. Is that okay? And if the spirit leads, depending on how the spirit leads, I can give you some examples within yourself. Like I could just pick somebody randomly on the call and do one or two things with you. Okay, let's go. So you're a business analyst. Roles and responsibilities of a BA. So from all the things we've said so far, you will see that a BA is responsible for justifying the need. In some cases, they define the need, manage the stakeholders, facilitate meetings, gather requirements. Sometimes they would challenge the requirements. They will question the requirement. You remember that guy? How can you swing with ladder? There was nobody to question that thing. It didn't sound reasonable. It didn't sound meaningful. How can you tell me to build this? You give me a minute. How can you tell me to build this and then I will not challenge the requirement? That is why you need a BA. How does this even make sense? How does this even make sense? So there was no BA to first do a need assessment, and secondly, there was no BA to challenge the requirements. Like somebody said, I think it was Ifeanyi, that said, sometimes the BA would help you to even get something that is better than what you were asking for. Yeah, that's the idea. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, good. So, let me push this a step further. Let's go. So I was talking about the things that the BA will do. Okay, they will challenge requirements sometimes. They will confirm the requirements. They will analyze requirements. They will document those requirements. They will communicate the requirements. They will help team and stakeholders understand the requirements. They will monitor and track the changes to the requirement, because sometimes what you said today in terms of the requirement may change tomorrow because the market conditions have changed. So the stakeholder may say, let's change things. So you have to track those changes. You have to communicate those changes adequately. Think about it. I know this could sound like a narrow view of what the BA does, but I think it's still a good understanding of what the BA does. He's like a middleman. He's like the central guy. It's like the middle guy, a liaison, as people say, between the business and the implementers. So he takes what the business wants, he tries to interpret it adequately and help everybody to be on the same page, and then takes that, which everybody has approved and agreed on, and then passes it on to those that will implement it. Simple. That's what he does. So leave all this grammar about this. I'm just trying to show you that the inner workings of the things that he does as a BA. The inner workings. So he does all of these things. Sometimes he may need to justify why we should do it. So they bring a project to you and they say, we want to go about this project. Can you help us know whether we should do it? Yes, so sometimes you can justify. It's what we call business case. Business case, yeah. Sometimes you can justify the need to invest money in something, the need to go on in a project. You see that? Okay. Any questions? So I'm going to take a pause here and I'm going to go into the Q&A. If I can't answer the question today, and if it's something I need to answer tomorrow, I'll answer tomorrow. Somebody's saying, how can a QA, so please put your question in the Q&A section. I'm going to answer some questions now. I see about just 2-3 questions here. How can a QA engineer, graphic designer, Scrum Master become a BA? 3 things. 3 things. Okay, there are 3 steps to becoming a BA. Get relevant and organized knowledge, which is what I'm doing right now. Okay, so you have to get the relevant knowledge. Of course, you can't be anything except you know that thing, right? And this applies not just to BA, it applies to anything. Okay, so you have to gain relevant and organized knowledge. That's number 1. Because there are certain things you learn that is not relevant. There are certain things, and that's why we don't do certain things in this course. We don't teach you certain things in this course. Okay, so you have to learn what is relevant and organized. All right, so that you take it from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, so that you don't get confused. So number 1, get relevant knowledge. Number 2, get experience. And this is why we're going to put you on a project, live one, something that you can relate to and get other people to relate to, right? Yes. And when we say live project, what does it comprise of? A problem, a solution, action, and result. So basically, you are able to talk about a problem you solved. Please listen. A problem you solved, a solution that you guys created, the thing you did, and the result, the outcome. That's it. So you gain experience. So number 1, gain relevant knowledge. Number 2, gain experience. Number 3, get a mentor. Who is a mentor? A mentor is a brain to pick, okay, and somebody to push you in the right direction. Yeah, you go on our website, you'll see our definition of a mentor. So let me come here. Okay, you see the definition of a mentor. We explain what a mentor is. So you can see mentorship is the brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. Okay, the 3rd slide, and a push in the right. That's what mentorship is about. It's an ear to listen, a brain to pick, because sometimes you think you know, but people have gone ahead of you. There are some people that have done, years of experience here. They can take what you know or what you have. Like you can see the case of Nosa, who thought that what he had or what he did didn't amount to anything. But looking at it with a mentor can help him see it. So if you take these 3 ingredients, the first, which is the knowledge, important. Second, which is the experience, important. And the 3rd, which is mentorship, important. If you combine these 3 things, then you're on your way to transitioning into business analysis. So I hope I answered your question. The next one is, what is the difference between BA and Scrum Master? I'm not going to answer that question now. I'll answer it tomorrow, because we're going to talk about Scrum Master, right? So why am I answering that question now? I've only told you about who a BA is. Okay, now there's some of us who they're even hearing this for the first time. Who is a Scrum Master? So I'm guessing you know who a Scrum Master is. You just want to hear the difference from me. But tomorrow, when we talk about Scrum Master, okay, and product ownership, that will be a good time to now begin to reflect on what the differences are. Is that okay? So I'm not going to answer that question now. Okay, not because we don't know the answer, but because I think the right time to do so is when I have explained to you what a Scrum Master does. It then becomes easier to assimilate. The next question here is, does being a BA have a lot to do with mathematics and calculation? Nothing of such. Nothing of such. Nothing. Absolutely nothing of such. Okay? All right. I hope that helps you. Okay? All right. So, with that said, let's move on to the next set of things here. All right, let's talk about the core competencies of a BA. Okay, let's talk about the core competencies of a BA, and let's see what else I need to show you today. Let's go to the top of where we started from, okay? So that we can see what we've covered today. Let's go to the top. Okay, let's go to the top and see what we've covered. So I've told you about the skill garage, the instructor intro. I've given you an intro. I introduced myself. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, please, grab a hold of the recording. We'll make it available on YouTube, probably by tomorrow or tonight. It depends. I gave you my transition story. I told you what this is for. I helped you understand what business analysis is, who is a business analyst, the responsibilities of a BA. I'm just going to talk to you about the competencies of a BA quickly. And then I'm going to take you into software development lifecycle, hopefully today. And I believe I can still help you see how to build a product, right? And you'll be asking, why is this important? Why are you teaching me how to build a product? Oh, why is this important? Okay, I'm going to tell you the reason why it's important before I even teach you, right? So no worries. Remember, this is a masterclass, a free masterclass. I'm just trying to take one of the few relevant things and put them all together and then help you to see how, how easy this relates to some of the things you've done in the past and how easy it is to transition, basically. All right. Okay, so let's jump back to where we were and we'll say one or two things and then we'll call it a day. Is that okay? And then we'll be back again here tomorrow to kind of give it a good wrap. Okay, to give it a wrap. Okay, so let's talk about the competencies quickly of a BA. Now, when I say competencies, it simply means those things that will help you to be, a bit more efficient. Does not mean that if you don't have these things, you cannot be a BA. No, that's not the meaning of competency. The meaning of competency of a BA means that if you have these things, then you become 30% efficient, 40% more efficient, you see? All right, you can carry out your job as a BA, but having these competencies will make you a bit more competent. But before we go there, I want you to listen to this lady. I love her for the simplicity, for the transparency of this profession called business analysis. I love her for the transparency that she brings. She said something about certification, and I know some of you have questions about certification. Please listen to her so that it doesn't look as if when I tell you my part of the story, it doesn't look as if I'm trying to score a point. Some people think sometimes when we say a thing, it's because we want to score a point or market a thing, because that's the way their mind is built. Their mind is always built like, he's saying all of this because he wants to sell a course. Okay, that's fine. I want to sell a course. But just open your mind to get what you came here for. It's as simple as that. All right. At the end of the day, we've taught, several people, we helped several people transition. All right. And we will always get people to come on the course. Of course, I really want you to come on our course. I want you to come on our bootcamp, but I want you to also listen to this lady because she throws out some wonderful some gems in what she says that, and you can find it on YouTube. I don't have any proprietary rights to this, right? You can find it on YouTube. It's something you can find. She's in I think New Zealand or something, right? She works in New Zealand, so you can check this out. But I'll play it here, and I want you to listen carefully to the things she says about solving problems, about certifications, about how she even started her BA, stuff, right? And how some things can just come in organically from what you've done previously. Okay, so I just want you to listen, have a good listen, and then we'll move on from there. Is that okay? I'm not going to talk too much about it, but please listen, and then you'll be able to grab a thing or two. Thank you. So we go.
Kia ora, I'm Gemma. I'm a business analyst and I work for Red Vesper in Wellington. Business analysts solve problems. We help organizations to change up their people and culture or their business processes. People deal with stuff. They work around problems that they shouldn't have to. So the job of a business analyst is to make other people's lives easier. We help to get to the basics of what the business actually needs to work in the most effective way. It's not about having the answers readily available. It's about working with others to get that solution together. Quite a lot of big businesses have BAs. Government has a lot of BAs in it. I work for a consultancy. We often go into clients You really get to see how different companies work. So every time I go into a new project, it's like the first day of a new job. You've got to just throw yourself in, admit that you don't know everything. And actually, part of that is admitting that the people around you know a lot more, and pulling on those knowledgeable people is a really good way to get involved. Having someone show you through what they do really highlights to them where things could be more user-friendly for them. It's often a really good time to ask, why are you doing it that way? Why? It's that toddler kind of mindset of being so inquisitive. It might be that they've never thought about it. It's just the way that it's always been done. Actually, that is something that we could make more efficient, more effective. To ask what they do and how it works for them often gets you to the point where you can see a lot of where the problems lie. Building relationships is a really important part of my job. Listening to people and really getting engaged in what's going on for them. It just makes it so much easier to have those conversations that are often quite difficult, because it's about changing the way someone works and changing someone else's outlook on whether there's a problem. After a while, the awkwardness kind of disappears. So business analysts are often the translators between the customer and the developer of the solution. So that could be talking to customers, and that might be the people doing the job or the end customer of an organization, to understand exactly what they need, and then working with the developer of the solution to understand how we can make something work to solve those problems. Most BAs work as contractors, which means that they are self-employed and they go into different clients for periods of time, and then they have to find their next job. I work for a consultancy and they're responsible for finding me client projects. We get the opportunity to see so much different stuff as consultants. As a BA within a company, you're often there for a whole project and you get to see it from start to finish. But as a contractor or a consultant BA, you often come in for a small part of it, do the piece of work that needs to get done, and then hand it off to another team without seeing the whole thing through. I love variety. I thrive on it. I love being able to pick something up and make it better and then move on to the next thing. There's loads of different types of business analysts. It's really about finding what you love and letting that take you into the niche that works for you. Some of the skills you need to be a good BA is to be inquisitive and to always be asking questions. Being personable and getting on with everyone is a really kind of useful trait. Changing who you're working with and changing where you're working can often get quite uncomfortable, and you have to be happy to deal with that. You are always working in change, and you're changing how other people work, and that's uncomfortable for people. So you have to be happy to manage other people's emotions as well as your own in a variety of situations. To know when enough's enough and when a solution is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to work to solve the problem you're trying to solve. Most BAs kind of organically become BAs. So it's not so much specifically about the study that you do, more about your interest and your engagement and how inquisitive you are. I have a diploma, which I got back in the UK, and it kind of gave me the toolkit. And then there's loads of sort of specific business analysis qualifications that you can do, but they're more likely to be done on the job than before you start. I didn't know what a BA was when I took the job. And I think it's one of those things that's really hard to explain because it's so varied. The context of solving those problems and being really engaged and inquisitive in whatever you're trying to resolve is the most key thing, but the way you do that could be so different. If you're interested in the world around you and interested in making it better, I think it's a really cool role where you can make your own path. Being a business analyst gives me the opportunity to help other people to have an easier life, and I can't see anything that's more important than that.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to get like 2 people to react to that. 2, 3 people. Maybe there's something you know or something somebody told you about BA or BAs or business analysis. And right now you're like, okay, this lady has said some things that I didn't hear before, or I didn't know it was that way. Or it may not even be that. It may be that, that is some good points there. I didn't see it that way before. Or, oh, this is what I heard, and it actually stood out for me. Now, I need 3 people to tell me any of those things. Like, this is what I heard. It stood out for me. Or I used to think it was like this, but man, this lady said something that really, resonated with me. And I think it makes sense, right? So I need 3 people to react to this quickly. Just tell me 3 people. I need 3 people, 3 quick people to react to the video that you've just seen. Again, listening is a key skill. So if you are not listening, you probably don't have anything to react to. That's what I think. All right. But if you are listening, then your hand should be up. I need 3 people. Okay, so I'm gonna allow Dr. John to go ahead. So go ahead, I've unmuted you, please. Go ahead and tell me what were the things that stood out for you? What were the things that the lady said that stood out for you?
So one of the very major thing that stood out for me from what she said is that as a BA, she has a face-to-face interaction from customers, the end users of the company's products. So because most times a company is working along this particular line, not knowing that the end user, the customer, that is not even what they need. So after interacting with the customers face-to-face and knowing firsthand what these customers need, he will now take that information and take to the team and see how they can modify the product or introduce a new product that will suit exactly what the customer needs. I think that for me was yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for that contribution. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, any other person, please? Is there any other person? What did you hear? Any other person? Did you hear anything significant that kind of stood out? And you can throw it in the chat. If you are not able to talk, you can actually throw that in the chat. Okay? All right, so Rotimi, I see your hand up. Rotimi, I see your hand up, so I'm going to allow you to talk. Now, if you want to say something, just click on the hands up. There's a button where you can just signify your hands up, and then we'll unmute you. Go ahead, Rotimi, please.
Yeah, she said she didn't know anything about BA before she started. That was interesting. She said she didn't know anything about what a BA ought to be, and she's up and doing now. That's interesting to me.
That's interesting to you. And it's interesting to, let me say a few things about that. It's interesting, why it's interesting is because she works as a consultant, and I have worked as a consultant also in the BA space for quite a long time now. And it's important that as BAs, you are going to be leaning on other people, the knowledge of other people, because you are eliciting from people. You do not, remember she said, you do not have to know. You do not have to know to start your work. You lean on the information you are eliciting from other people, because that is your job there. It's to understand what people need. It's to understand. So, you lean on their experiences, you lean on their knowledge, you see, which is interesting. That should be very relieving. Now, I don't think that is calm, because some of you say, oh, but that's not the way it works. But that's the way it works. How do you know the way it works if you're not a BA? How do you know? The person who is the BA is telling you that's how it works. All you just simply need to know is know the techniques to use, know the skill set to deploy, know the artifacts to produce, okay? You use certain softwares, which we're going to teach you, okay? Certain softwares like Jira, Confluence, Draw.io, and the rest, which we're going to teach you. And, that's it. Some of the things that you even bring, some of the soft skills and all of those things you bring, some of those things you've already done on your previous work, So it's interesting, what she said there. So thank you so much, Rotimi. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Any other person wants to say something? Okay, I see some things in the chat, so let me read it. It says the fact that you have to learn how to work with different people, managing people's emotion. That is what Jude said. So thank you. When we said, I heard her say, the solution doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work, right? It has to work. Speaks to being able to deliver value. So the solution has to work, because there's what we call iteration. There's what we call, and I'm going to talk about agile maybe tomorrow, if the time permits. I'll talk about agile and how we produce things in an agile fashion. Okay, it just has to work, and then you can build on that. And that is why we have the concept of the MVP. All right, and I'm going to talk about that hopefully if we have the time today. A BA makes other people's life easier. Absolutely, 100%. So you're going to make the life of the developer easier. Why? By giving him requirements that he should build, what he should focus on. As a BA, you cannot work alone. Get the requirements, take it to the team, and get results done. Absolutely. You're not a loner. You do not work alone. You work with people. A BA works with people. Okay? So that is why relationship building becomes a huge part of the work that you do. So give me a minute. Let me, pop out of this and go in here. I'm not going to say too much about this. I will expand this later, like relationship building, leadership skills, facilitation, communication, and there's a lot to say here. Problem solving skills, business skills, analytical skills, and there's a lot to say here. Now, you would see that, one of the things is that you need to be personable. I was listening to her, I was writing some things down. Okay, you solve problems, you change business processes. All right, she said it's not about having the answers, but working with others to get those answers. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Similar to what I told you, because you think you're the one to bring the recommendation. No, you're not the one to bring the recommendation. It's not you. Yes, if you can bring the recommendation, fine, we'll clap for you. But you see, she said, it's not about you having the recommendation or the solution. It's about you leaning on others that can help you get that solution or help you get that answer. And then she mentioned something about certification, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. He said the job, you are most likely to even do your certification on the job. Because the first thing people ask is, which certification am I supposed to take? And I'm like, relax, get the skill first. I'm not saying, I'm certified myself, but that's not what the job market is looking for right now. Get the skill set first. You are looking for a certificate. Get the skill set, and the skill set first. Get some experience under your belt. Get some, what you can actually use in bamboozling the hiring manager. Okay, before you start, wrapping your head around, which certificates and which certificate not to do. Okay, all right. Okay, so let me go into a question that was dumped here. Somebody said, as a BA, do you have to work with some software? Yes, you have to work with software. I mentioned some of them: Jira, Confluence, Draw.io, right? Certain software, you don't even really need to know how to use them. You just need to know how to, relate with them. Okay, for example, Miro, Figma, right? And all those stuff you're going to use, we're going to teach you how to use them. Okay, we're going to teach you how to use all of those things. All right, I hope that question is answered. The person who asked the question, right? Yeah, there are tools that you would need to use. Okay, so let me move on into the next set of things. Hopefully we can initiate this discussion, and I'm going to end there for today, the SDLC. Hopefully I can move into one or two things from there. And then I'm going to tell you, for those of you who will be interested in our bootcamp starting next week. So our bootcamp starts next week. Let me show you the details of that. So let me even take that now. So the bootcamp starts next week, and for those of you on this call, I am going to be giving you something very special. So the bootcamp starts next week. You can sign up for the bootcamp. Just come in here and sign up for the bootcamp. This is just, you just enter your details, nothing else. But then, we're giving you an early bird discount. So early bird means that you are making a payment before the bootcamp starts, which is next week. That's next week, Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's next week, Tuesday, because Monday is, give me a minute. Yeah. So the bootcamp starts next week, Tuesday, which is the 16th. So it starts from the 16th to the 20th, 16th of April to the 20th of June. It's 10 weeks, all right, intensive. And it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m., just like we're having now. Okay, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. each time, all right? So you can check out the brochure here. If you click on this, you will see the brochure. So you can go on and check out everything you're going to learn, okay? From the tools to the, product ownership to everything. Everything you see on this brochure is what we give you, all right? Anything outside, maybe not. Okay, that would be based on negotiation, but you can check to see what you get from the project, the resume clinic, to the interview prep, to the on-the-job support, and all of that stuff. You can get to see everything in the brochure. And if you have any questions, probably you can ask tomorrow. But this is what I'm going to do for those of you attending this class. All right, this is what I'm going to do for you, which I hardly do. All right. And all is just to make sure that you are able to be a part of what we are doing here. And for those of you who are really, you really want to take that step, all right, I'm going to give you this opportunity to do that, the opportunity to do that. All right. Now, this is like 3 courses in one, but for the lack of a better word, we use business analysis, because that's the bulk of the things that we do. And then, we then teach you Scrum Master as part of it. And then we teach you product ownership as part of it again. Now, how do you access the brochure? Simple. Go to this link. First, you can go to our, I posted the link in the chat. You can go to www.theskillgarage.com and then go to programs. Please go to Europe, Africa. Okay, Business Analysis Bootcamp, Europe, Africa. Don't go to US, Canada. Okay, if you're not in US, Canada, don't go to US, Canada, or North America. No, go to Europe, Africa. That is for you, right? And then click on that, because we will be doing this on your own timeline. Does that make sense? Okay, on your own timeline. So like for those of you in Europe right now, this should be around 9:30, 9:23. Okay, for those of you who are 1 hour difference, maybe this is 10:30 for you. So it's a manageable time instead of having to join the US region, okay? So this is going to run for 10 weeks, and then you're also going to do a project on top of that. Typically, this cost for a one-time payment will cost you about 1025 pounds for a one-time payment, all right? And 369 if you're making a 3-time payment. But we always run what we call the early bird, where you pay 970 or 339. But guess what? What I want to do for the people attending this class today, and it's going to be for the first 10 people, because typically I know we do get, quite some good hits. So I'm going to do it for the first 10 people, all right? And it's been programmed that way. And it's for reasons best known to me, okay? Because again, we do a lot on this course. We can't afford to just throw it to everybody. But for the first 10 people between today and tomorrow, we're going to keep it open. Now, if you are making a one-time payment, please listen carefully. On top of the early bird, so the early bird is already a discount by itself. But on top of the early bird, we're going to give you a 30% discount. Did you hear what I just said? That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So we're going to give you a 30% discount. So you can already begin to imagine how much that is. All right. I told you how much I paid years ago. It's not even up to it. Yeah, it's not even up to that amount. Right? So we're giving you a 30% discount. This would expire after tomorrow's masterclass. So you don't need to do anything today in case you're still thinking about it. All right. You don't need to do anything today, all right? But we're giving you a 30% discount here. And for those of you doing 3-time payment, we're giving you a 25% discount. 25% discount. So all you need to do is go on here, okay? If you're making a one-time payment, click on that. It will take you here. You can see this is 970, which is the early bird. Now, on top of that, you will now use the code of 30. Okay, I'm going to send this code to you. You use the code of 30, and then you apply that code. It's going to reduce this to 679 pounds. Now, for those of you who are paying in euros, by the time you go on this link, it's going to convert it to euros for you, wherever you are. Okay, it should convert it to euros for you, whatever that is in euros. But in pounds, it's 679 if you're making a one-time payment. Now, for those of you, again, like I said, I would typically not give this kind of discount, all right? But again, I think I'm in that mood where I think we've got quite some success stories that are very interesting this week. It's mind-blowing. I'm just excited. All right. And I want to get as many people as I can get on board. Okay, especially those of you who are kind of saying the finance is a problem. I know. We also made sacrifices too. So I'm going to try as much as possible to make it easy on you. So off 30, you use that code between now and tomorrow. By tomorrow, 11:59, it's over. Okay, you will have to go back to the early bird. All right. And if you're making the 3-time payment, so normally it's 339 for the early bird. Regular is 369. That is how much we charge for this course regularly. This is how much we charge for this course. And trust me, for those that have gone through, I don't know where you've trained before, but we are different. I always tell people the difference between me teaching business analysis and another person teaching business analysis may not be the curriculum, it's the person who taught it. That's it. Whether you like it or not. Yeah, it's the truth. It's the person who taught it. The same way I would never have wished for another teacher apart from KG. He was the best that I could understand him. He was so clear. He was passionate. Everything I needed to trust a mentor was in the guy KG. And I went for him. So the difference between this person is doing business analysis for 50 kobo and this person is doing business analysis is not necessarily in the money or the curriculum. They could follow the same curriculum, but the person teaching it has a different style of teaching it, which could make you fall in love with the subject. Like I fell in love with maths and physics because I had a teacher from Wisconsin. He was a PhD from Wisconsin, physics. If you wake me up today I've left high school since how many years? But if you wake me up today and ask me any physics concept, I can teach A-levels physics without going to the book. Why? Because of the person who taught me. Not because of the syllabus. Because the way he broke the concept, I was using physics to earn money while I was in the UK when things struck. Yeah. You see? So it's not about, is it not the same BA? No, it's not the same BA. The people who taught it are different. And they bring their uniqueness to what they teach. It's as simple as that. Right? So I can tell you exactly what we offer here. All right? It's unique. It's not like any other. I can categorically tell you that. All right? So 339. Here I'm going to give you, because you're doing an installment payment, right? And obviously we pay our developers. Okay, some of you don't know. I will show you. We have about 15 developers running our project. We have designers running our project. Right now we are trying to recruit. We recruit people for projects like this project right now. I showed you this project, this one. We are recruiting curriculum people for Igbo. You see, this is Igbo.
Hello.
You see, we are going to build curriculum. This is people's project. So we are not joking here. So we also pay money. So don't think we just take money. No, we are paying money. We are recruiting curriculum providers for projects like this so that your project is worthwhile. Does that make sense? So we do the real thing and the right thing here. So, you know, so that's the thing we do here. Okay, so for those of you making the 3-time payments, we're giving you 25% discount. So it's going to be off 25. So you're going to use the code off 25. So when you apply that, you're going to make, it's a 3-time payment. So it's every 30 days. Okay, so if you're making a payment today, so every 30 days, okay, you can adjust that. Every 30 days, it's going to charge you that amount, okay, compared to the original amount of 369. Does that make sense? All right. So again, I'm going to drop the link. Just go to the website. Okay, this is the website. You go in here and then you scroll all the way down. You would see, click on, if you're making a 1-time payment or 3-time payment, just click on that. All right. And then you get in here, then use the codes. All right. I'm going to put in those links for you. Let me put in that link for you there. 1-time payment is, let me give you the link for the 1-time payment for those of you who are making the 1-time payment. And then that's the 1-time payment. And then the code or the coupon you're going to use is off 30. Okay. Now the 3-time payment is this one. The 3-time payment is this. And the code you're going to use for that, for the 3-time, is much, we're giving a much lesser discount, but then it's still something. Okay, it's off 25. All right. If you want to go to the website directly and then get the brochure, okay, the brochure, you can get it from the website. You can get the brochure from the website. I'm going to also put that link for you, for those of you in Europe, Africa. That is all you need for that. Okay. That said, we're going to, so those people asking what's the difference between BA and this, I'm going to answer all those questions tomorrow. So what's the difference between a BA and Scrum Master? What's the difference between BA and Product Manager? What's the difference between BA and Data Administrator or Data Analyst? All those questions about what's the difference between this and this. Keep it. I'm going to answer it tomorrow. So come tomorrow, I'm going to answer those kind of questions, because I'm going to talk a bit about some of the other things like Scrum Master, Product Owner, so that it then becomes easy for you to be able to even tell the difference yourself. Does that make sense? All right. It gives you the basis for making those, because if I just tell you the difference, you still gonna ask it again. Okay. You still gonna ask that question, what's the difference? But once I teach you who they are, then you can draw the differences yourself. Does that make sense? All right. Yeah, that's the way I teach. Okay. So keep that question. I'll meet you tomorrow and I'm going to answer. But before you go, okay, I just took a break for those of you who want to jump off the call so that you can understand what we are giving you just before you jump off the call. So you get a 30% discount on the 1-time, you get a 25% discount on the 3-time, and I'm looking forward to helping you navigate this journey in the next 10 weeks, which we are starting next week, Tuesday. All right, so let's get back to our class. I've got the next 20 minutes to help you see 1 or 2 things, and then we'll continue this journey tomorrow. Is that okay? All right. So software development life cycle. Software development life cycle. Please listen carefully. Michael, why are you just told me about a BA, who a BA is, what a BA does. Why are you taking me here? Why are you showing me software development life cycle? I don't understand. What does this mean? Okay. Take a chill. Just relax. I'm going to help you understand why I need to teach you this. Is that okay? All right. Now, please listen. I'm not going to show you any slide. I have slides for this, but I want you to listen. I want you to engage your listening. In the bootcamp, I will show you slides. Now, remember when I talked to you about change? Remember when I talked to you about change? And I said that change is always happening in companies, in businesses. Remember when I said that? And I said that change is carried out through the vehicle of a project. Some of you want to see things, so I know some of you like to see before you can grasp it. So let me try and help you to present something. Is that okay? I didn't want to present something, but I think it would be nice to just present something to you so that you can see it. And some of you would like to see it that way. Okay, let's do it like this. So you should be able to see my screen now. Okay. Now, a business analyst is responsible for enabling change. At least we established that. Okay, we established that. Please follow me. Then, this change, I mentioned to you that this change, which is implementing something new or modifying something that was already there, this change is delivered through the vehicle of a project. So what that simply means is that a business analyst, you will typically hear something like, we will place you on a project. That's why I asked, for those of you who have business analysis friend, ask them. The first thing they will tell you is, I have 2 projects. I'm working on 3 projects. I'm working on 1 project. I'm working on 10 projects. That's what they tell you. They don't tell you, I'm working on 3 changes. I'm working on 2 changes. I'm working on 1 change. Do you understand? That's what they tell you. They tell you, I'm working on projects. And when they want to put you on things, they put you on projects. Please follow me. Now, they don't say, let's place you on a change. But the reality is that the project itself is actually what brings about the change. So the project is actually you carrying out this change. So a BA, like I've shown you today, is responsible for what? For guiding the change, for enabling the change. But in trying to enable that change, they put him on a project. You work on a project. They won't call it a change directly, but you know that working on that project is what brings about the change. Are you there? Okay, please stick with me. Now, remember that this project is a series of activities that you have to do and complete within a given period of time to achieve a set of outcomes. So you do tasks, different activities to achieve a set of outcomes. Now, this outcome that you are achieving or you are working towards is actually the change. Because the change is the new thing you are trying to achieve, right? Like a new product. So working on a project that focuses on that product actually makes you produce the product, right? So it means that the outcome of a project is actually the change. So that is why they would ask you to work on a project. Please stick with me, because I'm taking you somewhere here. All projects will go through a cycle. All projects. Now you know why I'm taking you towards the project direction, because the project is how you do the change. So it's important that you understand how a project is run, right? Now, I'm not going to focus on that because that's not the essence of this masterclass. I'm not focusing on PMLC. I will just brush through it. I will not talk too much about it. All right, so please bear with me. So all projects will go through a cycle. That cycle is what we call the PMLC. I'm not going to talk about it. The PMLC is called the Project Management Life Cycle. So the Project Management Life Cycle starts from the initiation to the planning to the execution to the closure. Okay? I'm not going to say too much about it. I will elaborate it later. Now, when you talk about projects in the IT space, when you talk about projects in most organizations, about 75 or 80% is software related. Okay, you may say, Michael, that's not true. Okay, think about it. Think about your organization. Is there any change really that is not powered by software? Even supply chain, even processes these days. Even when you're dealing with a project that has to do with process, that process is still powered by a system, by one or two software. Like your supply chain, you will still need one or two software to collect the purchase order, to collect one or two things. So at the end of the day, you begin to discover that about 80% of the projects you'll be working on in an organization still takes you back to the software. It still takes you back to systems. Are you getting me? So 80% of the project or more that you'll be working on in this space still takes you back to systems. And systems are a combination of software. So it then becomes paramount that we understand how a software project is built, how a software project is executed. Because remember that in a project, there is the initiation, planning, execution, and closure. So it then becomes important that you understand how that software project is executed, because you will be involved in it. And this is why we bring you to the software development life cycle. This is the reason why the next thing we teach you is the software development life cycle or the system development life cycle. And you're going to see this on job descriptions, numerous job descriptions. In fact, one of the first assignment I'm going to give you next week, okay, will be for you to go and look at job description, about 40. I asked you to go and look at 40 job description. That's my first assignment, okay, on every of my bootcamp. Because how do you want to become a BA if you don't know what a BA does? And sometimes there are different vagaries to this, job descriptions. So it's important that you start to look at the job descriptions. So when you start looking at job descriptions, you begin to start some of the things we said today. And some of the things that I'm going to say about software development lifecycle, you actually see it in the job descriptions. All right. So it then becomes important and paramount for me to put this in front of you and help you understand how softwares are built, how systems are built, how, the system of software development lifecycle, which is the step-by-step process of executing a software. It's the step-by-step process of building a system, of building a software project. Do you understand? So this is the reason why I am bringing you to the software development life cycle, just in case you did not know why. This is the reason why I am bringing you to the software development life cycle. It's because the bulk of the project that you're going to work on will be software related. And in addition to that, all right, you will need to understand how a software is built. Okay? And this takes us to the SDLC, which is the step-by-step process of software development, the framework you use in conceptualizing a software, delivering a software, and maintaining high, quality, functional, working software in the most cost-effective way. So in the next few minutes, I will try my best to see how I can help you understand the SDLC. And then tomorrow, okay, tomorrow we will continue from there. Okay, tomorrow we will move from there. Is that okay? So let me quickly share my screen, and then we are almost done. So bear with me. We are almost done. So bear with me. My screen will show up right now, and then we can go from there. Is that okay? Now, all of the projects that my students have produced actually went through these stages. Every single project that they have produced goes through this stage, right? And we guide them through every single step. Now, also, the projects you're going to do out there at work will go through these steps. Okay? All right, so let's start. The first stage, okay? So the software development life cycle. Okay? All right, so the first step is the planning. Okay, and I'm going to be brief about this. Okay, the first step is the planning. All right, so the planning is where you understand the scope of what you need to do. So in planning, you're trying to understand what exactly is this project? What am I supposed to do in this project? When are we supposed to deliver this project? All the high-level information that you require to be able to help you run that project successfully is what you will be gathering in the planning phase. Now, some of you may feel that that is too simple, but let me help you understand something. For example, somebody comes to you and say, let me give an example of some of the projects we've done. There's a particular project we are doing right now. It's called Mental Touch. So it's an application in the mental health space, okay? And some of our students are building that application. So I tell them what the problem is, why we're doing this project, and all of that. So they get all this brief, but then what is the boundary of the work we are supposed to do? What are we supposed to do now, and what are we supposed to do later? What are the things you really want us to focus on? Because we can do so many things with this thing, but what are the things you want us to focus on? So you now begin to see that scope is boundary. It's a boundary, it's the boundary. Because there's so many things I can do. Think of it, okay, think of a dating app. There's so many things I can do with a dating app if I want to build one. But then I can say, let's focus on this thing, which is the scope of the work. And maybe I'm not going to build it just in one go. I can break it down into three installments or 3 releases and say, let's focus on this part to this time around, and then we'll do this part next, and then we'll do this part next. So all those things form part of the planning. What approach are we going to use? Are we going to use Agile? Are we going to use Waterfall? I know you may not understand what that means, but I'm going to teach. I'm going to mention that tomorrow. And who are the people that are working with us? Well, you see, all those things you need to know about the project falls under the planning. Most importantly, the scope. That's why I'm putting more emphasis on the scope. Most importantly, the scope. So sometimes you may even need to do a competitor analysis to understand what your own product should be doing. Sometimes you may need to go and do a research to understand what we should be building. So that initial work that you do to take you to the point where you can understand exactly what we need to do or what we need to be building or what we need to be working on falls under the planning. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you an example through the work that some of our students have done. And I will show you the brief that we gave them for the project. I will show you what they did in the planning. I will show you what they did in each of these steps. I don't have that time tonight. Just listen to what I'm telling you tonight. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you an example, and then I'll take you step by step. And then I will now introduce Agile, introduce Scrum, introduce the roles in Scrum, which is Scrum Master and Product Owner. And then I will help you understand what they do and help you see that this is something you can also do. I've always told people, there's no time that I've been a BA that I was not also a Scrum Master. Listen, you think that the market is looking for just a BA? No. Today, in today's market, they're looking for people that are multi-dimensional. So what does that mean? You can do BA, you can do Product Owner, you can do Scrum Master. In fact, let me even add this. You can even do some product management on top. Because how would you build a product without knowing some product management? Some of my students do go-to-market strategy. They do go-to-market strategy. So the market is looking for people that can do all of these things at once. And if you are very, if you are very brutal and you really need this thing, some of them even do data on top of it. So there's no one skill set that will get you a job. In this day and age, you have to combine everything. So if you are looking to say, it's just BA that I'm interested in, you're wrong. You have to do BA, do Scrum Master, do Product Owner, understand how they relate, understand what they do, add some other things to this, and then win in the market. The times have changed. So you think somebody's just going to give you because you're just a BA? No. So I'm going to be telling you how you can win in the market tomorrow. I'm telling you how you can win in the market. I'm already telling you some of the things already, right? So times have changed. Why? Because AI is there to make your work easier now. Yeah. So you think somebody wants to pay you 120 just to be a BA now? No, it's not the way it was then. And for the lack of a better word, we just call this Business Analysis Masterclass. It's a lot of things in one thing. For those of you who will be coming on the bootcamp, we'll give you a data course. Yeah, we give you a data course that we've done. We give you a data course, a data that we've done in the past. And from time to time, we run some of these data classes. Why? Because you need, I kind of overemphasize it, but let me just, so that because of our time, I need you to go back on time. I will talk about some things tomorrow. So let's just talk about this. So if you take a dating app, for example, here you want to know that this dating app, we should put in registration. We should put in login. We should put in a chat functionality, right? We should put in some location something, right? We should put in some kind of, profile management, stack account management. Okay? We should put in some kind of, support functionality. And I can go on and on, okay? So at this level, you are trying to understand the scope of what you need to do. Again, tomorrow, I'm going to show you what some of the students have done in some of the projects and how they navigated from a brief to, planning the scope, planning the roadmap and things like that. So let's assume for the purpose of this class, you want to understand the scope of this dating app. So that's there. Okay? Remember that this is not the detail. You are just trying to figure out, okay, this is what we should be doing. This is what they want. This is what they need. Dashboard. Thank you, Chidera. Dashboard, and you can go on and on. Now, the next step, after you've established this, and then you guys have established that this one should be released in May. This one should be released in, who knows, maybe June. Okay, that's what we call roadmap in simple words. I'm just trying to tell you in simple words. That's what we call roadmap. Okay, the features, that's the roadmap, meaning we're going to do this now. Just in case you're hearing those big words, this is what they mean. Okay, aha. Now, once you've understood that, you now go into what is called requirement analysis, or what some people would just say analysis, but it's actually requirement analysis. So here you are going into the detail. They say devil is in the detail, or no, but the devil is not inside this detail. It is the real work that is in the detail, not the devil. Okay, so the real work is in the detail. So this is where you now move from just saying registration to understanding what we need for this registration. Because registration for a dating app may be different from registration for a mental health app. It may be different from a social media registration. Do you understand? Okay. In what sense? Okay, so this is where you now start giving us details that you need social registration. So meaning that people can register through their Google and Facebook, and you tell us which one. Are you there? Social registration. And then you can tell us that, oh, people can also register using their phone number. So these are all details. Phone number or email. And how are you getting this? You're getting it from the people who gave you the work. Or you're getting it from what the competitor has done, and then you can take it to them and say, this is what we came up with. Can you agree with it? Or is there something you want to add? This is where you are building in the details of the requirements that would meet what this person has asked you to do. I'm just using the dating app as an example. I mean, there are different other things, right? Like processes and the rest. So this is what I'm just using as an example for now. So phone number, email, password, okay, age restriction. We have to check the age. Restriction that has to be 18 plus. So meaning that when the developer is putting it together, they have to check. That means you have to collect the date of birth. You see? Because how else would you know the age is 18 plus? So this registration needs date of birth. There are some registration that do not require date of birth. There is a particular application that my students are building right now. Is the driver app for our Afro shop. Now, for them to register, they need to upload documents like their driver's license, insurance, and things like that. You see? That is that one, the registration for that one. It's not the same thing as the registration here. You see, that is why you cannot just assume that the requirements you have for that other project is the requirement you have for this project. No, business analysis is done in context. And this is the reason why we say you have to elicit. And there are several methods to elicit. Okay? So, date of birth. What else? You read and tick the terms and conditions so that you don't tell us you didn't know that we were using certain things, and then you go and sue us. Okay? You tick the box that you've read the terms and conditions and all these other things. So now you've gotten into the detail. So this is the next step in building a software project. You start from the planning, go into the analysis, and once you have the details written down, you can now pass it on to the next phase, which is the design. Again, I'm going to show you all of this tomorrow. Okay, I'll show you every single thing from Figma, our Figma files to all those things I'm going to show you. Right now, I'm just putting, because of lack of time, just putting all of this here. So, but we'll do that tomorrow. So design, this is where this requirement that you've put together will now be translated into something visual. Okay, so they'll put here email or password. You put here password. So somebody's going to design this, and then they'll put here date of birth. Okay, and then they'll put here what else? You know, something else, or they will say you should register with Google or register with Facebook. Okay, so you can click on this or click on this, and then they will say accept our terms and conditions. So somebody's going to design this. Why? Based on the things you've told them. And then they will take this design, go into number 4, which is implementation. Implementation. This implementation is also called coding or build. Now, you as the BA, you have some role to play here. You're not the one building it, but you're the one helping those that are building it to know what to build. So you'll be available to make sure that you give them the details of the implementation. For example, what should happen if we put in the wrong password? What should happen if we put in the wrong email format and things like that, right? You are there to give them all the things they need to do to implement this accordingly. Now, by the time this has been implemented, it's just like you taking your stuff to the designer, to your fashion designer or to your tailor. You give your tailor requirements. You tell your tailor, please, can you put this way? Can you do this that way? Can you do this way? Can you do this? It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? So at the end of the day, when your tailor does this, do you just put on your clothes and go to the party and go to the wedding? Without, I mean, the first time you're going to put on that clothes is when you're going for the party. Is that what you do? No. You have to check it to see whether he has done what you asked him to do. That is called testing. You know, you're testing it. So you put it on and then you say, this guy did not, you know, this thing is very tight here. You know, he didn't give me some allowance, or this thing is this. Then you can now take it back. It's the same thing. So after implementation, we do what is called testing. Testing and integration. Testing and integration. I've told you about the testing, but I didn't tell you about the integration. The integration means that the way software is built, it is built in bits and in bobs, in parts. So you build one component, you build another component, you test them separately, you build another component, you test it separately, and then you have to now merge it. It's called integration. Now, sometimes when you merge those components together, there could be a problem. So you have to test everything again. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Okay, that is what we call regression testing. Okay, so that's what you do here, testing and integration. When everything is now okay, by the time you've tested everything is okay, you now deploy to the users. And that's when you wake up, you now see version 2.1 is ready. Okay, you deploy. Okay, you deploy, and then maybe you can now start training the people in your organization, right? And then number 7 is maintenance. Now, I'm going to stop here today because of our time. It's almost top of the hour. All right, I don't want you to stay longer than. So I'm going to stop here, but I'm going to repeat this tomorrow. And then I'm going to show you visuals. And then we're going to go from here to talking about waterfall and agile. And then from agile, I'm going to talk to you about Scrum and Kanban. And then I'm going to talk from Scrum. I'm going to teach you about the roles. Okay, this is where I will talk about the Scrum Master and the Product Owner. And then you can now start asking me that question about where is the difference between BA and this, BA and that, BA and this one, BA and that. After this, you can ask me that question. And then from Agile, I'm going to show you what an MVP is. Okay. And then we're going to start talking about, leveraging past experience, which is what I already started talking about today. And then what are the expectations for the bootcamp? All right. For those of you who are looking to join us on Tuesday when we kick off. Okay. So that is it today for the class today. I will try to upload this on YouTube, and I will send you guys the link by the time we have it uploaded. I'll try and, upload this and send you guys the link, and you can always go, or I will send you the Zoom link, the recording. I think that's faster with the password, so that you can access the recording. And then tomorrow, we will go again, 7. All right. And then I'll just wait for those of you who are ready to take the next step. Remember, it's not enough to dream. You have to take an action. And sometimes this change in status and changing will require you to make certain sacrifices. Financial sacrifices involved, time sacrifices involved. There's a lot of, I'll talk about the 5 sacrifices of a career change. So there are certain sacrifices that you have to make, and financial is one of them. Okay, so don't think that, at least I've done my best. I've been able to give you, for those of you who know, that's how much we charge. We charge that much, or that's little for these courses. But again, I want to be a bit more inclusive. I want people to join. I want people to see what we are doing here and how it can help you transition. All right. And hopefully we get some of you to come on the course from next week, and we can make magic happen. All right. Thank you so much. Now I'm still here. Do you have questions? Do you have questions, guys? Do you have questions? Yes, I'm going to send it to the Telegram group. Now, for those of you that are not in the Telegram group, let me post the Telegram group. Now, this is meant to be the UK, Europe, Africa region. So we have the North American region. So this is your Telegram group, please. So join that Telegram group if you're not there. Okay, that's the Telegram group for you to join. I'm going to post the payment again on Telegram. So for those of you who want to make payment, remember, please, we are opening it for just 48 hours, which is today and tomorrow. After tomorrow, it goes back to the original amount. Okay. And then after 15th, it goes into the regular amount. Okay. Yeah. For those of you who didn't see that, let me go back and show you. Okay. So if you didn't see that, so you can see that normally the early bird is supposed to be what you're paying for, okay, which is what we do normally, just to encourage you to be a part. We give you the early bird till the 15th, which is Monday. And then on Tuesday, it goes back to the regular, all right? It's the same thing on our brochure. You can see it on our brochure. To qualify for early bird, payment must be made at least. So it's not as if I'm trying to woo you to make a payment. This is how much we make, you get to pay for the course. But on top of this one, I want to give you an extra 30%, and I think that's enough. It's a good deal. All right. And then on top of this one, I want to give you another extra 25%, payment. So that you can come on board. All right. Now let me take questions. And if you want to unmute yourself, will there be a certificate of completion? Yes, but you have to participate actively in a project. If you do not participate in a project, we cannot give you a certificate of completion, because that is not the essence of this course. The essence of this course is to prepare you for the workplace. But if you need a certificate of completion, you have to participate in the project. Otherwise, we will not give you a certificate of completion. So yes, you can get one, but you have to participate in the project for at least 6 weeks. For at least 6 weeks. So if you don't participate in the project for at least 6 weeks, you won't get one. Yeah, it is our product management course that we just give you the certificate, because the way the instructor teaches, he engages you to do certain things, right? But on our BA, you have to do that after. So if you don't engage in the practical, we cannot give you a certificate of completion. Okay? All right. Any other question, guys? So I'm just answering questions now. We're done. Tomorrow, you're going to use the same link. It's the same link today we're going to use tomorrow, okay? So I'm just answering questions now. Oh, somebody said I should send the link for the payment into the Telegram. Oh, I'm going to do that now. That's fine. I can do that now. That's not the problem. Okay, I'll do that now. I'm going to put that into the Telegram. Any questions before we before we call it a day. Okay, I'm going to put that into the chat now. Give me a minute. Code is going to be off 30. Okay, for the one-time payment. Okay, for the three-time payment. Three-time payments. I'm going to put that in here. Three-time payment. Okay, the code is, for those of you, you're already seeing it on the, is off 25. Now, if there's anybody who has a question, please ask your question before we call it, and then otherwise we can meet tomorrow. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow and then conclude on this. Okay. Okay, so this one is 30% off, and the other one is 25% off. Okay. All right. Okay, I see that there are no questions and everybody's good. So thank you so much for joining the call. The call. No questions. Can you please send? I just sent those links. What's your YouTube channel, please? The Skill Garage is the YouTube channel. Okay, we'll send you an email for all of these things. Thank you so much, and thanks for joining the call. I can see some of you already paid for the bootcamp. You're here, so welcome. We'll see you again. All right, so take care, and I'll see you tomorrow, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now. Bye.